Rush than guest hosting for Rush. And I mean that. And we send our love to Rush and Catherine at this terrible, terrible time for them. Rush plans to be back on Thursday. I'll be here tomorrow, Wednesday. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.
Binge drinking, a common and dangerous behavior for all ages, is defined as 4 or more drinks for a woman and 5 or more drinks for a man over a short period of time. This risky pattern of drinking contributes to over half of the 79,000 deaths due to alcohol each year and a range of health and social problems, including unintended pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases, interpersonal violence, and death through car crashes. Most binge drinkers are adults who drink too much from time to time and are not alcohol dependent or alcoholics. Effective strategies to create an environment that discourages binge drinking include increasing alcohol taxes, reducing the number of places where people can purchase alcohol, and reducing the days and hours when alcohol is sold. Binge drinking is a clear health threat for the drinker and for society. Be responsible to your family, your community, and yourself. Don't binge drink.
From tuning an engine to replacing a fuse, you can learn it all under the hood. Heard every Saturday afternoon from 2 till 4 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400, KVFD, Fort Dodge.
The candidates have moved on. Lisa Brady, Fox News.
So I'm here one more time to ask for your vote as we pull into these critical days.
Pete Buttigieg and most of the other Democrats running for president are now in New Hampshire, stumping for next week's first primary, even though the official results from last night's Iowa caucuses still aren't ready. Party officials plan a partial release about 2 hours from now.
The Biden campaign has been saying they want to be consulted about whatever it is the Democratic Party is doing behind the scenes before they go public with anything, but that's got the Bernie Sanders campaign very subtly kind of taking a shot at the Biden campaign. The Sanders people now are saying, and they're on their way to New Hampshire right now, that anybody who doesn't want these results released in full and immediately just is not happy with where they think they landed last night.
Fox's Peter Ducey in Portsmouth.
And I've just heard from a source at the Bloomberg campaign. Michael Bloomberg watched what happened last night, and he sees how unsettled the field is right now and decided that he is going to now double campaign spending for the next couple weeks.
The former New York mayor is skipping the first few contests to focus on the Super Tuesday primaries in March. President Trump has a date with Congress. He'll deliver the State of the Union to a joint session and the nation tonight, just a day before the Senate decides whether to remove him from office.
The State of the Union always tightly scripted, but the big question, will the president include either in the scripted text or perhaps an ad lib anything about impeachment? Hogan Gidley, the principal deputy press secretary, said earlier that the word impeachment is not in the speech.
Fox's John Roberts at the White House, which says the theme will be the Great American Comeback, focusing on 5 areas, including health care, immigration, and support for working families. Wall Street is booming. The Dow's up 458 points, an hour to the close. America is listening to Fox News.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
The impeachment trial doesn't resume until tomorrow, but senators are explaining their upcoming votes and trying to sway colleagues.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell urged Republicans to vote to acquit President Trump, claiming Democrats wanted to impeach from day one.
Vote to keep factional fever from boiling over and scorching our republic.
Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said the president is guilty.
It's a serious charge. The Republicans refused to get the evidence because they were afraid of what it would show.
The final vote, scheduled for late tomorrow afternoon, is expected to result in a not guilty verdict. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
A crash that remains under investigation in suburban Oklahoma City claims another young life.
A second teenager is dead after being struck by a driver who plowed a pickup truck into a group of teens in Moore, Oklahoma, not far from the local high school. Urena Martinez had been in critical care since Monday's crash. Student Rachel Freeman died yesterday. The driver, 57-year-old Max Leroy Townsend, faces manslaughter and failure to stop charges. Police suspect he was drunk at the time.
Fox's Eben Brown, the toxicology test results are still pending. Two sisters in Massachusetts will not face charges over an apparent voodoo ritual in Plymouth.
Sisters Rachel Hilaire and Peggy Labossiere were accused of hurting and threatening two children. Investigators say the pair tied up, cut, and burned a 5-year-old girl in a voodoo ritual meant to rid the child of a demon. They also threatened her brother with decapitation, but the sisters reportedly did so at the request of the children's mother. Prosecutors are now dropping the charges, saying it's not in the children's best interest to compel them to testify. Tom Graham, Fox News.
As the Dow soars new record highs for the NASDAQ, it's up over 2%. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
With your KVFD news update, I'm Rob Jones. The results of last night's caucus still have not been released. They are expected to be revealed sometime today. The delay is due to issues with a mobile app used to report results to the Iowa Democratic Party. The issues are said to be both on the technical side and errors on the user side. Reports say that caucus leaders at some sites had trouble with the instructions on downloading the app. Then when sites began to report the data through the app, they discovered the data was only partial results. The app was developed by a company called Shadow, who discovered a coding error in their system that they later fixed. A Microsoft-built app was used in the 2016 caucus. That app did not have any reported issues. 4th District Congressman Steve King was in attendance at the Republican caucus last night at Iowa Central Community College. King was there to show support for President Trump, and he says that the president has continued to accomplish things even while being impeached.
Walking through the fire and getting things done while he's being shot at the whole time. I mean, it reminds me of going into the hospital in Balad in Iraq, where they took the most patients, the most traumatized patients. They had sandbags up just head high, and you have as many as 8 different doctors working on a patient at any single time while they're being mortared. Being mortared the whole time, and he's focusing on the patient, which is the United States of America.
King went on to say that Democrats have been working on impeaching the president since he was first elected.
President Trump was elected on November 8th of 2016. November 9th was the first speech by a seated member of Congress that they were going to impeach Donald Trump. And they set about doing that. Then the following Sunday, they gathered together at the Mandarin Hotel in Washington, D.C. And out of there, they strategized on how they were going to deny Donald Trump the ability to govern this country and keep his promises.
Company officials announced yesterday that the Misty Harbor Boat Factory here in Fort Dodge will be closing within the next few months. The closing is expected to result in a loss of over 40 jobs. On 92 Rock, the Fort Dodge Dodgers at home hosting Des Moines North. The Dodger girls coming off a win on Saturday on the road against Waterloo East. You can hear those games beginning with a 6 p.m. scheduled start for the girls' pregame show with the boys to follow. The St. Edmund Gales in action tonight on the road at Humboldt on Sunny 99.7, a 6 p.m. scheduled start time for the girls' pregame show with the boys to follow. And as always, you can catch all of our high school basketball coverage at yourfortdodge.com. For KVFD from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. High of 22 this afternoon under overcast skies, northerly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Overcast skies again tonight, lows level off around 6 above. A blend of clouds and sun tomorrow, high of 24. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times Thursday with a high of 29. 25 Friday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 22.
Remember black and white TVs? Or 8-tracks? Or this? All of these, at one time or another, were the best. And then something better came along. Introducing Saltro Fungicide Seed Treatment. The seed treatment bringing SDS protection to the next level. By providing superior control of SDS without any of the stress shown in plants treated with other seed treatments like Elevo, Saltro is SDS protection. Upgrade it. Talk to your retailer or seed dealer about upgrading to Saltro. Always read and follow label instructions.
Ever walk across your cornfield and find a nice surprise? Like that favorite vice grip that fell off the planter last spring. Well, next fall you might just come upon an even bigger treasure. More corn, thanks to Acuron herbicide. Acuron gives you 5 to 15 more bushels an acre than any other herbicide when used in a pre-emergence application at full label rates. To discover your 5 to 15 bushels, talk to your Syngenta retailer. Acuron Yield Advantage range based on 2016 Syngenta and university trials. Always read and follow label instructions. Acuron is a restricted use pesticide.
Message and data rates may apply.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 200 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll learn the same degree as you would on campus from wherever you are on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, text THINK to 35517. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates, and why 88% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU Online degrees, text THINK to 35517. That's THINK to 35517.
Discover Magnify, the revolutionary management tool that delivers the financial insights you want for the profits you need. Available from Farm Credit Services of America.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
Well, here we go. Yeah, it's the day after caucus day, and we still don't know who won. We still do not know who won the Democratic caucuses. Apparently, we'll know around 4 o'clock this afternoon. We stand in front of the entire nation humiliated for all the talk about how embarrassing Donald Trump is, and he can certainly be embarrassing. This is really the topper. This is really the most embarrassing incident we've seen in the caucuses yet. It was bad enough what happened in 2016 with that coin flip nonsense. But now we have this. Yes, a company tied to Hillary Clinton, some workers running a company who have worked for Hillary Clinton were responsible for this debacle. And the flat refusal of the leadership of the Democratic Party to listen to local Democratic Party officials that there were problems with a stupid app. Troy Price, who is the chair of the Democratic Party now in Iowa, should step down. Andy McGuire, she should step down. There is no going back on this one. Some heads have to roll on the Democratic Party side. It's not going to happen because I say so, that's for sure. But surely, we all have a right to demand that anybody who put millions of dollars in business at risk, and it's probably gone, by the way, we will not enjoy a First in the Nation caucus again because of this stupidity, because of this arrogance, because of this foolishness. It's gone now. I mean, campaigns, businesses, political consultants, all kinds of people came to our state, spent millions of dollars, paid campaign workers from around the country and in this state to get out and work for these individual candidates. Volunteers by the thousands have canvassed our state. But thanks to the leadership of the party and their rock-headed refusal to look at this app. Again, many local Democratic Party people contacted the state office to say there were problems with the app some time ago. As of yesterday, it had not been addressed, and here we sit. I assume that we're going to get some sort, it's been announced now, that maybe at 4 o'clock this afternoon this will happen. There are a lot of people who are going to lose money from this stupidity and incompetence, gross incompetence. Our state is going to lose millions of dollars. We may have seen the last of face-to-face time with major presidential candidates. You know, I've been to a lot of these things. I've spoken face-to-face with people who went on to be president. I've spoken with Jimmy Carter. I stood within a couple of feet of Barack Obama. I spoke with practically all of the Republican candidates in the 2016 election on air here. There was only two people I couldn't talk to, and I've said this before: Marco Rubio and Hillary Clinton. Now, of course, Hillary Clinton wasn't a Republican. Nobody seems to know what she is anymore. I don't know if she knows, except a bitter old woman who keeps trying to throw a wrench into everything. And it's just a irony that people close to her came up with this app who has cost us so much in Iowa. You do remember in 2008, Hillary Clinton came to our state, didn't really see anybody. She met with party officials and told them what they were supposed to do. But Barack Obama won the primary here. And she left the state angry and indignant. She kept asking her aides, who do these people think they are? Who do these people think they are? That was Hillary Clinton's response in 2008. Well, we're damn fools today, Hillary. We weren't when we denied you our vote. You would have been a terrible president, just a terrible president. Some people think that Donald Trump is a terrible president. Hillary Clinton would have been a disaster. Oh, I don't know. I've been talking since I had this radio show about the new Democratic Party, the one that seems to be focused on climate change and transgender rights and rounding up guns, letting us have 20-gauge shotguns. Wasn't that Joe Biden's suggestion? We should all get a 20-gauge if we needed to defend our house from burglars. Jeez. Yeah, I still got this cough. Wow. I don't know. I'm speechless. I know that the Democratic Party in Iowa one time was something we could all be proud of. The Democratic Party, especially during Franklin Roosevelt's time and through the 70s here in Fort Dodge, brought prosperity and hope to an entire population. Focusing on social issues and taking a lot of corporate money, which was the Clintons' playbook, and they changed the Democratic Party, saying, look at all this money we can get if we just go out to California in Nancy Pelosi's district where there's a bunch of zillionaire environmentalists out there. We can go out there and make climate change our number one idea, and we'll, I can't believe it, and we'll just, and we'll win. And they did get Bill Clinton in there, and that sort of attitude got Barack Obama there. I really think the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement that Barack Obama was putting together, getting ready to hand it off to President Hillary Clinton, I think that was really the straw that broke the camel's back. The middle of the country certainly rose up against elites like Hillary Clinton and, yes, Barack Obama. And, yes, the leadership of the Democratic Party as it exists today. Again, why does Troy Price still have a job? I mean, or Andy McGuire, either one of those people. The Democrats won't insist they resign no matter how incompetent, because that would look like they're folding to the Republicans or something. I don't know why. Their incompetence has been on full display. This has been a painful day for me. And I'm not even, again, a fan of the Clinton Democratic Party. I'm a fan of the Roosevelt Democratic Party. These people are just, the Democrats are just, are Republicans who, with offensive social policy, who apparently think that requiring taxpayer-provided transgender surgery is going to win an election or be a key factor. You know how many transgenders percentage-wise are in the country? It's minuscule. But the Democrats are going to go to the wall for them. That's fine. Bring that out here. Bring that out here in the next 7 months. Bring your little plans to round up all the guns and leave us with a 20 gauge in case somebody wants to come crashing through our door and we have children in the house. Bring that with you. Tell us again how dumb we are. I never want to hear anyone from the Democratic Party in the state of Iowa referring to anyone as inferior or intellectually challenged ever again. The Iowa Democratic Party had months and months and months to stand before the entire country and say, this is who we have chosen, and look how neatly and completely we've done it. And they totally screwed it up. Totally screwed it up. Come on, give me an alternate explanation if you can. 515-955-1400. Do we have a right to demand as a state that somebody in the Democratic Party, Troy Price, Andy McGuire, they pay for this nonsense? A couple of heads have to roll. Good afternoon, you're on the air at KVFD.
I think this discussion needs to be paired up with the news that came out Sunday night from the Des Moines Register also about their bum poll. Did you hear about that?
Their dumb poll? No, I
bum, B-U-M poll.
Oh, bum poll. What? Please explain that.
They announced Sunday. Usually the Register for, 70 years has come out with a poll prior to the caucus for 70-some years. And I guess one respondent complained supposedly that his candidate was not on the poll, on the poll as an option, so they scrapped the whole thing and refused to release the results instead of including that respondent in the margin of error.
Yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah, I did read about that.
That just seems kind of shady too, I think,
Well, it's another sign of incompetence, I'll tell you. I don't think these people should be allowed to run the country. They want to tell us that, yes, here's our candidates, they're superior, and especially when you stand them up against Trump, and I'm not seeing it now. I don't see a single reason to elect a Democrat in the state of Iowa. I'm that furious, and I have never voted straight ticket in my life. I have never done that, but I'm considering it. I mean, I didn't go to any of the Democratic caucuses because I thought, well, they'd throw rocks at me, because I've been talking and telling the truth about them for a long time, that they're grossly incompetent, and their values are alien to the culture of the state of Iowa. So I didn't go to the Democratic Party side, but I went out to Decker Auditorium at Iowa Central and interviewed some of the Republicans, and it was a work assignment for as far as I was concerned. I didn't really go out there to take part in the caucus itself. But anyway, the Republicans were up and energetic and organized. There was no screw-ups, no problems. And you would have thought with Randy Feenstra and Steve King on the same stage that there might be a little back and forth between their individual supporter groups, but there wasn't. It was polite and cordial. This mess with the Democratic Party is just embarrassing. But I thank you for your call.
Thanks, bye.
You bet. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. It's 223. Steve Peterson with the Farm Bureau is coming up.
10 steps to improve crop marketing. Hello, everyone. I'm Rhiannon Branch with Managing for Profit on Brownfield. Some of the biggest decisions farmers will make in the next 6 months revolve around crop marketing. Having proper records, knowing calculations, and understanding trends can help make those decisions more profitable. In this Managing for Profit, a farm business extension specialist will walk us through some steps to improve crop marketing decisions. More after this on Brownfield.
Hi, I'm Arielle Winter. If you're anything like me, your pets are not only your best friends, they're part of your family. American Humane, which has been rescuing animals like Cleo here for more than 100 years, has life-saving tips that can make a big difference in a disaster. When disaster strikes, you want to protect your whole family, including your pets. To help keep your family safe and help our best friends in their worst times, find tips at AmericanHumane.org.
My husband is a wonderful man and a great father when he's not drinking. I'm so angry he chooses alcohol over us. If he really loved us, he'd stop drinking, right? My counselor suggested I try Al-Anon. I didn't understand why. I'm not the one with the problem, but I'm glad I went. Do you worry about someone's drinking? You are not alone. Al-Anon or Alateen can help. Call 866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
Steve Johnson is a farm and ag business specialist with Iowa State University Extension. He tells Brownfield he has 10 steps to help farmers improve crop marketing.
If a row crop farmer can adopt these 10 steps, I think you can probably make an extra $20, $50, $80 an acre. And it's not about production. It's about management. Number one, you need to know your cost of production, including break even. You need a good set of records. You need to understand your cash flow needs. You're looking 12 months out. What do I need in fall? Crop insurance, is typically due in September 30th, and this year it's been extended till January 30th. I need to generate my cash flow, not waiting till fall. I need to sell my rallies in the spring. Number three, calculate your 2020 APH break-evens. Estimate your cost, divide by your APH. That is your best guess. That's your 10-year simple average for growing the crop. Number four, have a reasonable profit margin. Mostly, I'm saying we're growing a commodity, 5 to 10%. We're not making 20 or 30%. These are commodities. So I've got to manage my costs, but these are high volume, low margin types of products that we're producing. Number five, understand the seasonal futures trends. Corn peaks in May, June. Use that rally to finish old crop sales, make new crop sales. Track your local basis. The strongest basis of the year tends to be around Christmas and New Year's, and again in the spring when nobody wants to drive a truck. That tends to be our best basis. Then link crop insurance, revenue protection to pre-harvest marketing. Sell 40, 50, 60, 70% of your APH bushels. Generate your cash flow in advance when the futures price rallies in the spring. And then use a variety of marketing tools. I like HTAs and hedges in the spring, in the fall and winter. When I don't have enough crops priced, I like the basis contracts, minimum price contracts. Grab the basis, wait on the futures price. Consider commercial versus on-farm storage. I do not like to sit on commercially stored bushels very long. 2 to 3 months for beans. And by Christmas, New Year's, this time of year, I'm done. For corn, maybe 6 months in commercial storage. I like on-farm storage that I can move these bushels when the basis is attractive and I've got time. And lastly, create and implement a written marketing plan. Share it with somebody else. I think discipline is the key of making money in row crop agriculture.
That was Steve Johnson with Iowa State University, and I'm Rhiannon Branch with Managing for Profit on Brownfield.
From the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones. The results of last night's caucus still have not been released. They are expected to be revealed sometime today. The delay is due to issues with a mobile app used to report results to the Iowa Democratic Party. The issues are said to be both on the technical side and errors on the user side. Reports say that caucus leaders at some sites had trouble with the instructions on downloading the app. Then when sites began to report the data through the app, they discovered the data was only partial results. The app was developed by a company called Shadow, who discovered a coding error in their system that they later fixed. A Microsoft-built app was used in the 2016 caucus. That app did not have any reported issues. 4th District Congressman Steve King was in attendance at the Republican caucus last night at Iowa Central Community College. King was there to show support for President Trump, and he says that the president has continued to accomplish things even while being impeached.
Walking through the fire and getting things done while he's being shot at the whole time. I mean, it reminds me of going into the hospital in Balad in Iraq, where they took the most patients, the most traumatized patients. They had sandbags up just head high, and you have as many as 8 different doctors working on a patient at any single time while they're being mortared. Being mortared the whole time, and he's focusing on the patient, which is the United States of America.
King went on to say that Democrats have been working on impeaching the president since he was first elected.
President Trump was elected on November 8th of 2016. November 9th was the first speech by a seated member of Congress that they were going to impeach Donald Trump. And they set about doing that. Then the following Sunday, they gathered together at the Mandarin Hotel in Washington, D.C., George Soros, the hierarchy of the Democratic Party. And out of there, they strategized on how they were going to deny Donald Trump the ability to govern this country and keep his promises.
Company officials announced yesterday that the Misty Harbor Boat Factory here in Fort Dodge will be closing within the next few months. The work that is currently done at the location here will be moved to a facility in Indiana. The closing is expected to result in a loss of over 40 jobs. In sports, high school basketball on the agenda tonight. The Alpha Media family of stations with 3 games for you to choose from. On 105.9 The Beach, the South Central Calhoun Titans at home hosting Southeast Valley. The Titan girls will look to get back on track after a loss to number 1 ranked Newell Fonda on Friday night. And the Titan boys will look to extend their winning streak to 11 games. To do that, they'll have to avenge a loss to Southeast Valley, which was the last team to beat them back on December 16th. Join Brian Peters on the call of those games, a 5:45 p.m. scheduled start time for the girls' pregame show, with the boys to follow. On 92 Rock, the Fort Dodge Dodgers at home hosting Des Moines North. The Dodger girls coming off a win on Saturday on the road against Waterloo East. And Dodger coach Scott Messerly says he was happy with the road effort.
You know, we played pretty darn good over there, I thought. You know, it was a good game for us, and they all, up and down the lineup, they played good.
The Dodger boys will look to get back in the win column and snap their losing skid as well. You can hear those games beginning with a 6 p.m. scheduled start for the girls' pregame show, with the boys to follow. The St. Edmund Gales in action tonight on the road at Humboldt. The Gales girls still looking for their first win of the season, and the boys look to snap a 4-game losing skid. Join Greg Woods for the call of those games on Sunny 99.7, a 6 p.m. scheduled start time for the girls' pregame show, with the boys to follow. And as always, you can catch all of our high school basketball coverage at yourfortdodge.com. That's your Alpha Media News Update from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom. I'm Rob Jones.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge, 232. First of all, in the weather. Cloudy right now with a high of 20, it's cloudy with a high of 21, and 21 should be our high today. Wind chill factor temperature will be around 0 today. Overnight, mostly cloudy with a low of 6. Tomorrow, cloudy through mid-morning, then becoming mostly sunny with a high of 24. On Thursday, it'll be sunny with a high of 30. Friday, cloudy with a high of 25. Saturday, mostly sunny with a high of 27. And on Sunday, it'll be mostly cloudy with a high of 35 degrees. Monday, sunny with a high of 31. Once again, right now, it's 21 degrees at AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Obituaries this hour brought to you by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. Mr. Michael Klinger, formerly of Fort Dodge, lately of Corpus Christi, Texas, has died. He died at the age of 75. There will be a celebration of the life of Michael Klinger, and that'll be this Saturday at 8:30 in the morning. Willie Naylor, of course, has died. Willie Naylor was 67 when he died Thursday the 30th. A funeral service will be held this Saturday at 12 noon for Willie J. Naylor. Obituaries this hour brought to you by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. 2:33 at AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge, 21 degrees. We'll look at the closing market. We'll have the closing market report. Then we'll talk with Steve Peterson.
Here's looking at the markets closed on Tuesday. I'm Jesse Stewart reporting for Dwayne Murley. Grains were higher. March soybeans up 2.5 at 879.5. May beans up 2 1/4 at 893. July beans up 1 3/4 at 906 1/4. March bean meal down $1.30 a ton at 288.50. March bean oil up 44 points at 30.73. March quart up 3.5 at 382 1/4. May quart up 3.5 at 388. July quart up 3 1/4 at 392 3/4. March Chicago wheat up 1 3/4 at 557 1/4. March Kansas City winter wheat up a half penny at 467 1/4. Lean hogs February up 45 at 56.75. April hogs down 40 at 62.32. May hogs down 35 at 70.90. Live cattle February down 5 at 121.62. April down 7 at 120.65. June live cattle down 25 at 111.75. March feeder cattle up 85 at 137.15. April up 57 at 138.92. May feeder cattle up 50 at 141.30. I'm Jesse Stewart reporting.
There's an app to save on flights, an app to rent a bike, and an app to help you save for driving safely. The Allstate app gives you real-time driving feedback with DriveWise, giving you the power to lower your insurance cost. In fact, safe drivers can save 40% or more. Connect and save with DriveWise. You're in good hands.
Download the Allstate app today. Savings may vary by state and driving behaviors. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Use of Allstate Mobile with activation of DriveWise required. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Ooh, I love that house.
Yeah, but look whose sign is in the yard. That's not who we're working with.
We don't have to work with them just because they have it listed. Our agent at Neighborhood Realty can show us the house.
They can?
Well, sure. They can show us any house we like, no matter whose sign is in the yard.
Well, then let's call Neighborhood Realty for a tour.
I'm Sasha Fisher with Neighborhood Realty. We can put you in the home of your dreams no matter who it's listed with. Neighborhood Realty, online at neighborhood-realty.net.
Mom, Dad, I'm getting married.
That's wonderful, dear.
Congratulations. So have you decided on a date?
Yes, this Saturday.
What? Are you serious? We need to plan. There's so much to do.
What about the church? The flowers, music, food, inviting everyone?
You would not want to be faced with those hurried decisions then. Why do that to your family with your own final arrangements? I invite you to sit down with us at Gunderson's to pre-plan your funeral. Pre-planning allows you to make thoughtful decisions with a clear mind. Give us a call at Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services, Fort Dodge.
Farmers using Pivot BioProven's nitrogen-producing microbes are seeing amazing results. But don't take our word for it. Just ask Brian from Carmi, Illinois.
This year's been a challenging year for farming, and we saw greater than a 30 bushel per acre response with the Pivot BioProven products. It's a pretty easy decision for us after seeing how it performed this year.
Pivot BioProven. Get what you paid for. The nitrogen that stays put, whether or not.
Ever walk across your cornfield and find a nice surprise? Like that favorite vice grip that fell off the planter last spring. Well, next fall you might just come upon an even bigger treasure. More corn, thanks to Acuron herbicide. Acuron gives you 5 to 15 more bushels an acre than any other herbicide when used in a pre-emergence application at full label rates. To discover your 5 to 15 bushels, talk to your Syngenta retailer. Acuron Yield Advantage range based on 2016 Syngenta and university trials. Always read and follow label instructions. Acuron is a restricted use pesticide.
We stand for people, progress and pride.
We're the Iowa Farm Bureau, and we support farm families. We're a voice on local, state, and national issues. We're also committed to making rural Iowa a better place to live and keeping Iowa farm families on the farm.
People, progress and pride, it's true. Iowa Farm Bureau's helping you.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Is it true that a lot of people in Iowa are walking around today with bags over their head? I think I'll get one.
Baby, oh baby, I love to call you baby.
This portion of the program, of course, brought to you by the Webster County Farm Bureau. With us now is Steve Peterson. I'm glad you don't have a bag over your head in the room anyway. Do you have a bag out in the truck that you need to put over your head when you go home or not?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
You don't? You're okay?
Yep.
You're all right. Yeah, okay.
Yep. It's unfortunate the situation we're in today, but
you are such a diplomat. I swear to God.
Well, it's farm bureaus. This is kind of our time to shine, and we are a nonpartisan organization, grassroots by nature. So it's like I said, it's unfortunate that the events that transpired have cast this shadow on Iowa, and hopefully we can work through it.
You say that Farm Bureau is nonpartisan, and I believe you.
Yes.
But a lot of people on the left blame Farm Bureau for all kinds of things, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they appear to cast Farm Bureau as a conservative organization. Would you say they're a conservative organization?
It's kind of hard to frame it. I would say, yeah, our policies probably tend to migrate towards the center of consensus, but
I haven't heard you, I'm not you, but Farm Bureau really step out of the ag area, you know.
And we don't. We stay in our wheelhouse pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
All of our policies are developed from the small farmer, the farmer members.
Mm-hmm.
Ideas are put forward, they're vetted, they're talked about, and when we get enough support for a particular idea, we keep moving it forward, and it goes through the county level, it goes to the district level, it goes to our state level, and eventually, like this year, we had a few items. They even make it up to the federal discussion level. So, but party or really a political view never comes into sense, and I think that's what makes our message so strong, is because it is a genuine message. It's not derived to fit one narrative or another, politically. And we probably tend to, it's a pretty conservative message. I think when it's filtered out and all parties are heard, and our conversations, as a voting delegate, what I am right now. We hear a lot of different views, and we carefully word our policies to be able to talk to legislators and have policy and direction, because that policy is ultimately what gives our organization strength. And and it's something that's always moving. Different things come up, and we can go back and look at our archived policy, older policies that we've had, or sometimes we need to bring those up and modernize them too. So it's a ever-evolving direction that the organization takes.
There you go.
So it's unique in there. I don't know too many other organizations that have the fundamentals, I guess, that ours does, but we do get a light cast on us sometimes as our strengths and successes are based on our members, and that's the driving force behind Farm Bureau.
Okay.
So
all right. Do you spend much time with the National Farm Bureau or not?
I do not. Now our president, Craig Hill in Iowa, he is a board member of the National Farm Bureau.
Mm-hmm.
So Iowa is well represented. I believe he's in charge of finance now. So Iowa's got a good voice at the national level.
Okay, yeah. I've always been impressed with Craig Hill the times I've met him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very sharp guy, and he seems to be a very fair-minded man.
Yeah, and and constantly we do have Farm Bureau representatives from Iowa and all the states. It seems like there's a presence out in Washington, D.C., almost nonstop on different issues and talking to the legislators on various issues, and that's just like we're going to do at the state level. Next week I won't be here. I'll be down at the State House.
Oh, you will?
Yep. And we're going to be talking about some of our priorities and seeing the progress. I've just kind of been loosely keeping up. Things are pretty fluid down there, it looks like right now, as far as a lot of the legislation and some items that we were kind of spearheading through, and I see one's kind of making its way through committees, and that has to do with the farm kids driving permit. Basically an expansion of a school permit type issue. That was something that was brought up through our base, and where we're going to be at with the if they expand the sales tax and how that money is going to be spent and the formula and property tax reductions and various issues like that. We'll be making contact, so we'll probably pack the Capitol next week with probably it could be 300-400 farmers. It's pretty impressive sight, really.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's that's one of we'll do that a couple times if we needed for some reason something was coming up and we needed more representation down there. It's always possible, and then we do have a pretty expansive network of communication with our elected officials through emails and different social or sources of media type to get a hold of them if certain issues come up, and it's like I said, it's a very complex network, but it all stems very much at the grassroots level.
All right, Steve Peters is our guest. He's with the Webster County Farm Bureau. I was a little startled. I think it was by you. I know it was by you when you told me when we first heard of the outbreak of the coronavirus.
Yep.
You told me this would affect the markets. I went, what? Well, you were right.
Unfortunately,
you were definitely right.
Unfortunately, I didn't keep my notes from last week. I kind of am going off memory, but I believe last week at this time on Tuesday, I thought we were at 107 confirmed fatalities of the disease.
Actually, it was 2 weeks ago, and there were just a few people.
Well, last week I'm pretty sure I had 107, and the week before that there was just a few, and then it jumped up to like 107.
Mm-hmm.
And I checked just before I came up today what the latest statistic was, and it looked like now they're up to about 427 fatalities, with over 20,000 now infected. So it's still. The markets have evidently, they're still cautious about it, but and there's a lot of comparison this to the SARS outbreak. Sunday night there was some Chinese news sources that, just like they need anything else over there was also now reports of avian flu. And they're having to cull a bunch of their poultry herds. So that was in that same Wuhan province or town area. I haven't heard a whole lot about that in the I guess the regular media, but there were some sources saying there were some outbreaks there, and I think there are various outbreaks occurring a lot in China that we don't hear about, but a lot of this coronavirus is being of course compared to the SARS, which is, I think, about 17, 18 years ago. It's been that long already.
Yeah.
But some of the differences are in this one is there is a longer time of incubation. So there's people that are infected that are walking around and looking normal, feeling normal, and then they are actually infected by it. So it's not an instantaneous outbreak, which is making it hard for a lot of detection. And then you're starting to see a lot of countries with travel bans and isolation. I seen a report there. I think it's somewhere off the Asian coast. There's an entire cruise ship now quarantined with 3,000 people on board. The U.S., I believe the last I seen, we were up to about 11 people infected, which last week I think was 7. So it has grown a little bit here, but not near at the rate over in mainland China.
Yeah, what I understand that a woman who had been visiting China came back to her home in Chicago and infected her husband.
Mm-hmm.
This is not good, of course.
No, but what they say, how the incubation works, it's very possible. So I think they're getting some more understanding about it. Hopefully, we can get something under control so the spread keeps. It's looking like it's snowballing to get more and more out of control.
Are all these viruses that we keep experiencing, are these things in the Bible, end times or whatever? What's the Farm Bureau position on end times?
I've never read that deep in the book.
You never read that deep in the book. Okay.
No, but yeah, and on another note, it does look like there's here in America some of the research is starting to find some promising candidates for the African swine fever. I think they're still going to be a little ways off of testing, but they are making some headway in that, so that would be a good step in the right direction. I think they're talking it could be a year out yet, but originally the conversation I think was putting it at 10 years out. So definitely have. It looks like they're making a lot of headway, and that's encouraging. China has come back and said because of this outbreak now they might have to back off some of their purchase obligations in the last phase 1 China deal. So that could be kind of a hiccup too in the road of markets and trade. How that plays out, is going to be anyone's guess. But it's an ongoing thing. I guess some good news that we can talk about is officially we can put to bed the USMCA deal because President Trump.
Did he get it signed?
President Trump has signed that.
Finally and at last.
I believe that was last Thursday. Now it's just up to the Canadians, and it sounds like they are going to be ratifying it on their end here, possibly here in February or March. So
excellent.
Should be in a timely deal, and they said it'd take a few months to get it all implemented and move forward. So after seems like years of talking about that, it has finally come to fruition. So little good news, I guess, in the view of agriculture. Some other things that have kind of pop up on the news wire, and it gets a little confusing. We've heard about all these Roundup, and you see all the ads on TV, and the cancer. The EPA has come back and did a regulatory review of glyphosate, which is the main ingredient in Roundup, and it once again says that it is not a carcinogen and poses no risk or concern to human health when it's used according to the label. So,
is this going to put an end to all those lawyers out in California who?
That's a good question because I don't.
All those lawsuits against Roundup have been filed in California.
They're all in California. They're all in a particular district,
yeah.
and it just seems like it's a never-ending deal. And the ads are filtering out nationwide TV, and so it's going to be interesting. But it's been reviewed. Roundup's probably been, or glyphosate's probably been one of the most studied compounds in agriculture.
And where did this come from? France is where this glyphosate scare has come from.
Yeah,
to the World Health Organization.
In the European Union, that's going to be kind of some of the challenges and conversations I think we're going to hear in the next months to come, as we begin negotiations and discussions on trade deals with the European Union. A lot of their trade positions are not what we feel based on sound science. They're more opinions and almost folklore about GMOs and the implications, and they've kind of cast a shadow or fear on the consumer in the European Union. Most of those, or if not all, I believe, have been proven not factual, not true, but more of a scare tactic. So going forward, to be a viable trading partner with the United States, we have to get more to a fact and science-based information age, and it's proven safe time and time again. A lot of people really, I don't think they fully understand the GMO side of things and what's really done. I've been in some laboratories where they're mapping the genes and they're doing all the stuff, and you really see how it was done not that many years ago to 100 years ago. Back when Norman Borlaug, the work that he did with wheat, that was a very labor and tedious thing that he did, but it saved billion people he was credited for. And with today's technology, they can map the genes out. They can insert the genes they want. They can do it in a much more expedited fashion, and it's safer. And it's they can the rapid movement of different plants, and it's not like they put the fear into some people, like they're taking, we'll say, DNA out of a fish and they're putting it in a cabbage, and they're doing these weird crosses, making frankenfood, and that's the furthest thing from what's going on. There's a lot, different trees are hybridized and crossed, and they're just doing by identifying the genes they can take, and they can make these mergers, and and adaptations a lot faster and more accurately. So in the end of the day, it's to produce more food with less. They can make plants that utilize water more, that utilize nutrients more, are less prone to insects. There's a lot of benefits to the technology as brought forward. However, anytime that technology can be exploited, it seems like there's different people that are trying to capitalize on some of that on both sides of the fence. So, and again, we talked numerous times about, my dad and my grandpa, if they heard today that, people are fighting over burgers that aren't burgers and different things like that, it's a stretch. So communication to the consumer is critical, I think, moving forward, and it's just going to become more critical of educating people on the safety and really what and how these products are developed and made. And people deserve, I believe, also to know what they're eating, in a fair and consistent manner.
I would agree. I mean, we have the best food standards in the world.
We do.
And I've been to some pork facilities. I have not had the pleasure of going to Prestige yet. I would really like to see their facility. They had a walkthrough that I somehow missed right before they opened. But anyway, I know that we do an outstanding job as far as food safety is concerned. Nobody's is better than we are.
No, not at all. Yeah. So, and that safety, it goes clear back to the care of the animals and these outbreaks in China. China's going to go in the future going forward. China is going to have to transform, or they probably will transform. When I was in there, it was being talked about what the modern hog herd is going to look like in China. It probably will not be quite as big as it is now, by all reports, but it will be more modernized as far as disease safety and animal conditions and living conditions and the amount of feed consumed per animal. The feed consumption, and I'm sure Greg Horr can get into that. They have huge statistics on the gains and the how that stuff's all produced. So it's it's a regular science, and I think at Iowa State they have degrees about people that study this kind of stuff. So
Iowa State in their ag department is just unbelievable, the things they do down there. I went down to that thing in Boone, what was that, not last summer?
The Farm Progress Show.
Thank you very much. And I spent a good part of the day in the big Iowa State tent down there talking to some of those young people. It was amazing what they were into. Just amazing.
Yep. A few years back, I know the Farm Bureau, we lobbied our legislators to fund it's called the Veterinary Diagnostic Lab in Ames, and that's a partnership, I believe, with the United States Department of Agriculture. But it was kind of came again. You got to learn from these misfortunes. No different than the misfortune we had yesterday in Iowa. We need to move on and move past that and learn from it. But when we had the bird flu, that showed that how important it was to have a diagnostic lab that was USDA certified and capable of diagnosing this quickly and properly, basically here locally in Iowa, and locally in the center of Iowa, versus some other states that would endure this and have to wait and so the convenience. So we did secure funding from the legislative for that diagnostic lab in Ames, and that was it was something that showed a need and the importance during the avian flu. So there was an instance that we were able to move pretty quickly on that. So.
You're very reasonable today, Steve. I'm worried about you.
Well, I heard you before I came on, so I don't.
I was ranting a little bit, wasn't I?
I'm trying to get you to calm down just a.
You've got it done, pal.
Good.
You calmed me down, and well, I know from past experience, of course, you don't want to get political at all. So
that's good. I mean, speaking of calm down, you got that orange piece of paper that probably a lot of your listeners got. In the mail.
I got it.
And that's a stroke detection deal. If you're a Farm Bureau member, you get a discount on there. I signed up. I'm a
Farm Bureau member, by the way.
Yep. So I believe it's $100 for the screenings.
3 screenings for $125, full wellness profile $135.
And if you're a Farm Bureau member, I think you get $25 off there.
$25 off. Okay.
But you got to call and make an appointment. It's a stroke detection plus, and it's a neat deal. I've done it before, and they give you the a lot of checks and have quite impressive machinery there to give you and you will find it's no waiting. You find out the results right then as you're there. So
who does this? It's
a company that comes in and they go around, and they're going to be here. I believe it's next Monday at the Starlight.
Yeah, next Monday the 10th.
Yep,
the 10th, and Best Western Starlight Village, which is a weird place to have it, I think.
They have them set up in kind of the meeting rooms,
Okay.
and they have curtains and little stations, and you move through it. It's painless. It's it doesn't take a whole lot of time, but you do have to call and set a time up, and they move you right through there. So
yeah, this is at the best. The Webster County Farm Bureau hosts screening to detect your risk for stroke in less than 10 minutes, and that's Monday, the 10th, between 9 and 4:30. Appointments are necessary. Here's the number to call. It's 1-877-732-8258. Now, that number again is 1-877-732-8258. There you go.
And we have heard, some people, some stories that you go in and hey, you find out that they raise a question, and then that is a good sign then to go speak to your medical provider and look a little deeper. So.
All right, Steve Peterson with the Farm Bureau is our guest. We'll be back.
Take the worry out of winter with the Winter Weather Advisor on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD. We'll keep you informed on hazardous driving conditions, delays, cancellations, and closings. The Winter Weather Advisor is brought to you by Superior Siding, experts at siding, roofing, windows, and gutters. Superior Siding, providing you with the service you deserve. For more information, find Superior Siding at superiorsidingwindows.com. Take the worry out of winter with the Winter Weather Advisor on the Voice of Fort Dodge, KVFD.
This portion of the program brought to you by the Webster County Farm Bureau. The news is next, and we'll be back with Steve Peterson. It's 3 o'clock.
For exciting Panther sports, keep it right here on your home for University of Northern Iowa sports in North Central Iowa. The Voice of Fort Dodge.
A new countdown on the campaign trail. Elisa Brady, Fox News. Officials in Iowa set to release partial results from last night's Democratic caucuses. 1 hour from now, Fox's Gernal Scott has more live.
Well, Lisa, the chair of the Iowa Democratic Party says at least half of the data will be released, but has not said when all of the results will be made public. Questions about data transmitted by an app and Iowa Democrats used is at the center of this delay. Right now, Democrats like Joe Biden are in New Hampshire and still in the dark on who won Iowa.
So we don't know precisely how many delegates we have or how many we'll get, but I feel really good about getting more than our fair share.
Good Iowa results are usually a leg up in New Hampshire. For now, Democrats are campaigning without any clear advantage, Lisa.
Thanks, Gernal. The New Hampshire First in the Nation primary is a week from today. President Trump is preparing for tonight's State of the Union.
The theme is going to be about the great American comeback. The president will talk at length about 5 different areas in which he believes that he has accomplished a lot and can accomplish more if he is given a second term. First of all, the blue-collar economic boom, supporting working families, lowering the cost of health care, a safe and legal immigration system, and protecting national security.
Fox's John Roberts at the White House, where a spokesman says the word impeachment is not in the speech. The Senate votes tomorrow on removing the president from office. The earthquakes just keep coming in Puerto Rico. A magnitude 5 quake today near the south coast.
This is a very active series, and it's going to continue to go on probably, I would say, for months or years.
Don Blakeman with the National Earthquake Information Center says today's quake is believed to be an aftershock from the 6.4 quake that killed 1 person and did widespread damage in January. Wall Street rallied. The Dow up 409 at the bell. America is listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Let's talk credit card debt for a minute. If you feel you're carrying too much of it, you're not alone. The average household in the U.S. carries over $8,000 in credit card debt. Ready for some good news? With a cash-out refinance from Quicken Loans, you can quickly and easily put some of the equity in your home to good use by paying off a lot of that high-interest credit card debt. A great way to take cash out is with our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%. APR 4.23%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN to learn how taking cash out with a 30-year fixed mortgage might be the right solution for you. And for a record 10 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rates subject to change. Pay 2% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Maryland voters head to the polls today in a crowded primary to fill a seat left vacant by the death of a longtime congressman.
32 candidates are on the ballot, 8 Republicans and 24 Democrats for the 7th Congressional District special primary. That includes Elijah Cummings' widow, Maya Cummings, with the winners running in a special election in April to serve the rest of Cummings' term. They'll face a re-election battle in November to keep the seat. Cummings, who won 12 terms in Congress, died in October. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Mainland China still has the most of the world's cases of the new coronavirus.
They received 20,433 reports of confirmed cases.
The Chinese General Counsel Wang Ping giving a briefing in New York as health officials try to slow the spread. The virus now blamed for over 400 deaths in China. The number of U.S. cases remains at 11. A repeat drunk driver heads back to prison.
The call of alcohol stronger than freedom for this Maryland man, even after serving prison time for the drunk driving crash that killed 3 of his friends in 2011. 28-year-old Kevin Coffey, originally sentenced to 20 years for leaving a party drunk, crashing into a tree, killing his friends Spencer Datt, Johnny Hoover, and Haley McGuire, 18 and 20 years old, leaving a 4th passenger injured and then running through the woods to escape. He ended up serving 4 years on vehicular manslaughter, but after winning a new driver's license in 2018 with a blood monitoring device in his car, investigators found it registered alcohol in his blood more than 100 times, till police on a traffic stop found he removed it altogether.
Fox's Therese Crowley, a Montgomery County Circuit Court sending Coffey back to prison for another 7 years. Recapping the back-to-back rallies on Wall Street, the Dow up 408, the NASDAQ finishes at a new record high. Oil settles under $50 a barrel. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
From the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones. The results of last night's caucus still have not been released. They are expected to be revealed sometime today. The delay is due to issues with a mobile app used to report results to the Iowa Democratic Party. The issues are said to be both on the technical side and errors on the user side. Reports say that caucus leaders at some sites had trouble with the instructions on downloading the app. Then when sites began to report the data through the app, they discovered the data was only partial results. The app was developed by a company called Shadow, who discovered a coding error in their system that they later fixed. A Microsoft-built app was used in the 2016 caucus. That app did not have any reported issues. 4th District Congressman Steve King was in attendance at the Republican caucus last night at Iowa Central Community College. King was there to show support for President Trump, and he says that the president has continued to accomplish things even while being impeached.
Walking through the fire and getting things done while he's being shot at the whole time. I mean, it reminds me of going into the hospital in Balad in Iraq, where they took the most patients, the most traumatized patients. They had sandbags up just head high, and you have as many as 8 different doctors working on a patient at any single time while they're being mortared. Being mortared the whole time, and he's focusing on the patient, which is the United States of America.
King went on to say that Democrats have been working on impeaching the president since he was first elected.
President Trump was elected on November 8th of 2016. November 9th was the first speech by a seated member of Congress that they were going to impeach Donald Trump. And they set about doing that. Then the following Sunday, they gathered together at the Mandarin Hotel in Washington, D.C., George Soros, the hierarchy of the Democratic Party. And out of there, they strategized on how they were going to deny Donald Trump the ability to govern this country and keep his promises.
Company officials announced yesterday that the Misty Harbor Boat Factory here in Fort Dodge will be closing within the next few months. The work that is currently done at the location here will be moved to a facility in Indiana. The closing is expected to result in a loss of over 40 jobs. In sports, high school basketball on the agenda tonight. The Alpha Media family of stations with 3 games for you to choose from. On 105.9 The Beach, the South Central Calhoun Titans at home hosting Southeast Valley. The Titan girls will look to get back on track after a loss to number 1 ranked Newell Fonda on Friday night. And the Titan boys will look to extend their winning streak to 11 games. To do that, they'll have to avenge a loss to Southeast Valley, which was the last team to beat them back on December 16th. Join Brian Peters on the call of those games, a 5:45 p.m. scheduled start time for the girls' pregame show, with the boys to follow. On 92 Rock, the Fort Dodge Dodgers at home hosting Des Moines North. The Dodger girls coming off a win on Saturday on the road against Waterloo East. And Dodger coach Scott Messerly says he was happy with the road effort.
You know, we played pretty darn good over there, I thought. You know, it was a good game for us, and they all, up and down the lineup, they played good.
The Dodger boys will look to get back in the win column and snap their losing skid as well. You can hear those games beginning with a 6 p.m. scheduled start for the girls' pregame show, with the boys to follow. The St. Edmund Gales in action tonight on the road at Humboldt. The Gales girls still looking for their first win of the season, and the boys look to snap a 4-game losing skid. Join Greg Woods for the call of those games on Sunny 99.7, a 6 p.m. scheduled start time for the girls' pregame show, with the boys to follow. And as always, you can catch all of our high school basketball coverage at yourfortdodge.com. That's your Alpha Media News Update from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom. I'm Rob Jones.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. High of 22 this afternoon under overcast skies, northerly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Overcast skies again tonight, lows level off around 6 above. A blend of clouds and sun tomorrow, high of 24. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times Thursday with a high of 29. 25 Friday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 21.
Have the talk of the lifetime with the ones you love.
Grandma, this card asks, when did you get a TV and what was your favorite show?
I think around 1950 they had a Fort Dodge TV station that had a local barn dance show every Saturday night. Oh, honey, it was so much fun. They'd play instruments, we would sing and dance.
Sharing stories and memories with those who matter most isn't just important today, it will be especially significant when it's time to honor a life lived. Contact Gunderson Funeral Home to learn more about having the talk of a lifetime.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
Limu, when we're not telling people that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need, I've actually been moonlighting as a DJ. Check it! Here's the good part!
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Now through March 7th, almost everything at Party Productions and the other store is on sale during the Customer Appreciation Sale. General merchandise is 20% off, food is 10% off, and wine is $2 off. All NFL, 20% off. Melissa and Doug, 20% off. Magic, 20% off. School Spirit, 20% off. Don't miss your chance to save big now through March 7th at Party Productions, 1919 First Avenue North, and the other store in the Crossroads Mall, Fort Dodge.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. The Democrats all have bags on their head today. Steve Peterson is here. Steve Peterson of the Webster County Farm Bureau is here, and not surprisingly, this portion of the program brought to you by the Webster County Farm Bureau. So we covered some ground in the last segment. We talked about the coronavirus. I'm very nervous about this virus now. The stock market has been affected. Farm commodity prices. How have farm commodity prices been affected?
In the month of January, soybeans they're probably the ones that really took a hit.
Why soybeans?
Well, soybeans are consumed, soybean meal, and soybeans are used in a lot of feed and stuff like that.
Right.
And the South American crop is being harvested right now, so there's a lot of pressure against it. China's appetite for soybeans has been huge, so they've really taken it probably more so than corn. Corn's kind of been, I'd say, steady in a range. Cash prices you're going to be in that 365 to 380 range, depending on where you're selling. Soybeans, you're going to be, in that 820, 825 range, and probably taken off in the month of January. I think we lost almost 60 cents. So, and unfortunately, in the month of February, I don't want to make this any real confusing. This is kind of an important time for farmers, because every day in the month of February, they record the prices, and the average price in the month of February is what we use to base our insurance on. So, and then they do it again in the fall. So this is what we call our discovery month right now. So if we're going to see a bounce in prices, I'd like to see it right now, because what that does is basically guarantee I can insure the crop for more money. So it's a hopefully we can bounce, but when you're working on a moving average like this, and we're a few days into the month, we need to be pretty active in our pricing to get that average to move. So, but yeah, it's kind of challenging. Another thing, the administration, I just got the announcement yesterday that the final market facilitation payment by the Trump administration is going to be should be sent out the end of this week. And I kind of I got onto another subject, so I had the acres. I had to look up how many acres we have in Webster County, and it's about 370,000 acres is what's currently listed at the Department of Agriculture in Webster County that's in crop production. Webster County, I believe, is at $68 an acre. So a quarter payment or a total payment of this program, it injected a little over $25 million into the economies around here. And that money pretty much has been passed through by farmers, whether it's to pay taxes, inputs, cycled through. So this week's injection, is going to be almost $6.3 million
really
into the local economy. So it's very welcome. I think the status of myself and a lot of farmers is, we've been saying for quite some time now, we want trade, not aid, but yet these payments have been vital to trying to keep farmers whole during these trying times.
Sure.
Now that we've got some traction on getting these trade deals done, we'd like to see them implemented and move forward. The Chinese one was signed a few weeks ago. There was a 1-month implementation period, and we should be getting into that. And like I said, the coronavirus maybe is going to delay that a little bit, but for them to hit the targets that they've said they're going to hit, they're going to have to start buying pretty quick. So it's good news. And did you see did you watch the Super Bowl on Sunday?
Of course.
Did you notice the beer commercial for, they were gonna every 6-pack of beer that Miller, I think it was Miller Golden, they were gonna convert 6 square feet to organic. And that got
what
me.
What does that exactly mean?
Well, that's what
organic?
it kind of made me scratch my head. And organic is, you're not using any pesticides.
You're not using any chemicals.
It's organic, and that's veered as it's a type of farming. It's a production. It's kind of costly, but they were going to contribute every 6-pack of sale to organic 6 square feet. And so that kind of got my head thinking. So I had to look up what 6 square feet and acres and do all the math. And this is what I came up with, that they would have to sell 7,266 packs to convert 1 acre into organic. And 1 acre, for the average person to understand it, that's about the size of a football field.
Sure.
That's roughly an acre. Again, doing my math back at 370,000 acres in Webster County, that means they'd have to sell almost 2.7 billion 6-packs to do
2.7 billion
6-packs. So, if roughly every man, child, woman in the United States bought about 10 six-packs of beer, we could get Webster County converted to organic. So pretty heavy lifting for that ad on my thought. But it brings light to agriculture, and personally, I think the best ad, has that been 5-6 years ago when they did the Paul Harvey for Dodge trucks? That was probably the most simple, and that was probably one of the better ads I felt for agriculture.
There have been some, I was generally not happy or disappointed in the Super Bowl ads this year.
I was,
but there have been some great ones.
There have been.
There's that guy who was, I don't know, on the 5th story of a office building, and they're talking about, well, we could cut down on our Bud Light budget. There's a little pause, and next thing you know, we're outside the building, and this guy and his chair come flying out of the building, thrown right through the window.
But for Michelob, that was a kind of a cagey deal, but it did get my mind spinning. When they're talking 6 square feet, most people can relate to that size, but I had to put it in the context for farming. So it'd be some pretty heavy lifting on their part. So
I bet.
I thought it was a good game. I thought it was a pretty complete game from start to finish, and you had to watch. So,
man, I'll tell you, I said this on Monday. With about 9 minutes left, the game had been uninspiring, and San Francisco was ahead by 10 points. So I started channel surfing, and I found something to watch on the History Channel or something. I watched it about 5 minutes. I came back, and it was a whole new world. Yeah. I couldn't believe it, and I saw the end of the game. And what happened here? It was just unbelievable. That kid Mahomes is something else.
Yeah. So, but I'll give Miller a pass on this, and I thought it was pretty creative. I mean the math, you really got to do some working to get those numbers to come out. I suppose there are a lot of different ways to look at it, but if it gets you to think about agriculture, I'll take that in a good light.
Sure.
And then some other things, we got coming up here. It's the 1st of February, and it seems crazy to already be talking about this, but we're going to have, high schoolers graduating, and the Iowa Farm Bureau and the Webster Farm Bureau has scholarships available for students.
Oh, really? Great.
The Iowa Farm Bureau, they have some little more requirements than our county level. And, it has to be a 2 or 4 year degree, and you have to go into agriculture, nursing, or education. Mm-hmm. Those you can apply at Iowa Farm at IowaFarmBureau.com. And then our county, we offer some smaller scholarships, and we don't have directives on what they're used for. And those can contact our Webster County office. That's 515-955-3898. Or I think you can find it online also at Iowa Farm Bureau under Webster County. So those are some things we got coming up. And then, like I said, we're going to be going to the Capitol next week. I didn't make it to the last Eggs and Issues, so I haven't seen any of our representatives lately. But it's always good to make contact with them and see what's going on down there.
Sure.
It'd be interesting. You said you were made an appearance at a couple caucus sites last night.
I did. Well, I went to the only one I went to was the Republican caucus out at Decker. Okay. I thought if I tried to go to the Democratic ones, they just throw rocks at me. So, because wow.
Well, it sounded like there was a good turnout, and like I said,
there was last night at Decker's. Mm-hmm. There was for the Republicans. I don't know what the Democrats had. If somebody knows, 515-955-1400. Of course, they had a few sites. The Democrats had a few sites.
Yeah, and maybe that's some of the issue too. Maybe there was too many sites. I think, did they say there was 1,700 sites across Iowa?
Yeah. A bunch.
Boy, that just in Webster County, I think just had the one, and I believe they just had the one in Calhoun County for the Republicans too. Yeah, but no, I'm looking forward to going down to the State House, and we'll get some briefings, too, if there's anything new coming up on issues. And
do I need to bring my microphone down there next week? and put the Farm
Probably
Bureau.
wouldn't be too exciting.
Not that exciting?
No, not
Come
really.
on, you Farm Bureau guys, rock!
It like I said, we're gonna get briefed, and then we'll have another one that comes up in March.
Maybe it's boring during the day. I'll have to take the microphone downtown when you guys go downtown, because I know you do.
No, not on this trip. We do have for first-year delegates. We do have some training that goes along with that, which I attended that last year. Now, you might be interested. There might be some conversations being had depending on the results we're going to hear here in a half hour. Maybe they'll have results by next week, and we can move on from this. But this is usually coincides with what we call funnel weeks. So the things are passing through committees right now, and we'll go down and give a nudge or a nod, and sometimes too we'll hear from our elected officials on they'll have questions on things coming up from other representatives. So it's an interesting process. I definitely I've been out to Washington and been out there, but boy, it really makes you appreciate what we have here in Iowa.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot more civil down in Iowa or down at the State House, and it's impressive. So
that's what all our legislators say when I interview them and talk to them. And of course, I've been down to the State House many times over the years. Everybody's very cordial and focused on representing their district and doing something for the people of Iowa the best they see fit. And there's the usual arguments over this and that, and those are the ones that get in the paper because papers do the same thing I do.
Sure.
They yell fire.
Sure. But this year it seems like it's been pretty calm. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. The Public Service Union people must be getting what they want, because they're the ones who are usually raising hell with the Republicans down there. But I haven't heard that this year.
Yeah, it has been pretty calm now, and maybe with the caucuses being out of the way, and we get a few days past this, maybe the news cycles will change, and as different policy or different ideas start getting to the funnel and final votes, they might get brought to the attention more of the media. But right now everything looks to be pretty civil and pretty and a lot of the bills, like I said, that Farm Bureau supports. It looks like they're progressing their way through the appropriate channels down there. So.
What's the most important bill that Farm Bureau is pressing for or supporting?
I don't know if I would prioritize one as most important. The one that we don't know a lot about, because it's kind of a moving target, is definitely the property tax and the sales tax, because that's kind of the
usual thing.
Well, it's if there, a few years back there was the sales tax was voted on that they would raise, and that 3/8 of a cent would go to conservation, water quality type issues, and that was passed. It's just never been implemented. Well, it sounds like this year they're going to implement that, but it will not be, what I'm understanding at this point, not be just the 3/8. They'll do the full penny. So the sales tax in Iowa would raise that full penny. And there's some discussion on how that 3/8 cent is spent, and that's referred to as the formula.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that was, I believe, agreed upon, and there is some discussion now. Things are a little different from now to then. There's some possibility that formula could be re-talked about. However, the other 5/8 of that cent is an interesting topic, because that, in what I'm hearing, sounds like looks like it would be directed towards mental health, and which is something that is unfortunately near and dear to too many Iowans. Its effect and treatment and how we move forward to this, and Iowa is one of only 2 states that has a mental health funding mechanism that's tied to property taxes. So what we are proposing, if we do have this tax increase, that we can do a tax offset on the property taxes, because the Farm Bureau feels that mental health is really not a property service that should be based on property tax. So that conversation is a lot of moving components to it, I haven't really heard a whole lot of opposition one way or the other to it, but I think when a lot of people understand how the mental health funding works and what is proper and what isn't, it appears to me that there's a potential for a lot more funding off the sales tax component, because the property taxes are capped and they have growth limitation factors, and it looks like it would be more appropriate to fund that off of a sales tax.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially we'd be supporting raising a sales tax, lowering a property tax. It would be a dollar for dollar exchange.
I really think you guys should pay for it. Sales tax puts it on all of us.
The old model, because I've asked, you got to understand this, and we're fortunate enough to go into meetings where we have people explain this. The old model, where it was based on property taxes, stems back, and again, Iowa was one of only 2 states. I think Montana might be the other one. It stems back to the old models, which I'm just barely old enough to remember, is the county homes, or what they were referred to. I don't know if there was a proper name for them, but I've always known them as a county home. More of an institutionalized facility, and that's really what that money was for. And I don't really know that it was called mental health back then, but
it's called a county farm, and the residents would farm, and the women would cook and clean the place.
And that's where it was modeled, that it was based on a property tax, because it was supporting a county property. Well, since then, things have moved on. County homes or farms have moved away, and that money just kind of got reallocated into mental health. And so is it really a proper place for that funding mechanism or not? That's really what's up. But if we can take this tax increase, which is kind of, we're supporting a tax increase as long as it's paired with a decrease on the other side. Mm-hmm. So it's a complex thing. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of discussions. From what I can see, the potential growth, having a sales tax-based one, looks like it could put maybe some more money in the coffers for mental health. So it appears to be a good thing, what I can see. But,
sure.
But yeah, you kind of got to go back in time to understand how we got here, to go forward looking to what we're trying to do now. So it's just a bygone era, really. It's a remnant of something that doesn't exist anymore.
That's right, a world that doesn't exist anymore. I still think the county farms were great ideas. I mean, the people that went there had a place to go, and they had a sense of purpose, and they worked, and they got things done, and they had jobs.
It would be interesting if you could go back in time and understand why they stopped them.
I don't remember now, but that's a great question.
What was the reasoning?
They phased them out, though.
There had to be some dissent, I assume, of people on both sides of the fence and stopping marijuana. But that's, like I said, that's why the property tax component of mental health funding is there, and it's because it was left over from that era of time.
I remember some people, of course, complained that the county homes were too expensive. No matter what you have, but somebody's going to think it's too expensive. As I look back on it now, compared to what we have now, we'd be a lot better off. But they're not coming back either. So
no, I'm afraid not. So
no. Steve Peterson has been our guest. Steve is a voting delegate, and he's with the Webster County Farm Bureau. And of course, the Webster County Farm Bureau brought you this portion of the program. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Mike.
This is AM 1400 KVFD.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
That AM 1400 KVFD.
331 AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
the Iowa Farm Bureau, and we support farm families. We're a voice on local, state, and national issues. We're also committed to making rural Iowa a better place to live and keeping Iowa farm families on the farm.
From the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones. The results of last night's caucus still have not been released. They are expected to be revealed sometime today. The delay is due to issues with a mobile app used to report results to the Iowa Democratic Party. The issues are said to be both on the technical side and errors on the user side. Reports say that caucus leaders at some sites had trouble with the instructions on downloading the app. Then when sites began to report the data through the app, they discovered the data was only partial results. The app was developed by a company called Shadow, who discovered a coding error in their system that they later fixed. A Microsoft-built app was used in the 2016 caucus. That app did not have any reported issues. 4th District Congressman Steve King was in attendance at the Republican caucus last night at Iowa Central Community College. King was there to show support for President Trump, and he says that the president has continued to accomplish things even while being impeached.
Walking through the fire and getting things done while he's being shot at the whole time. I mean, it reminds me of going into the hospital in Balad in Iraq, where they took the most patients, the most traumatized patients. They had sandbags up just head high, and you have as many as 8 different doctors working on a patient at any single time while they're being mortared. Being mortared the whole time, and he's focusing on the patient, which is the United States of America.
King went on to say that Democrats have been working on impeaching the president since he was first elected.
President Trump was elected on November 8th of 2016. November 9th was the first speech by a seated member of Congress that they were going to impeach Donald Trump. And they set about doing that. Then the following Sunday, they gathered together at the Mandarin Hotel in Washington, D.C., George Soros, the hierarchy of the Democratic Party. And out of there, they strategized on how they were going to deny Donald Trump the ability to govern this country and keep his promises.
Company officials announced yesterday that the Misty Harbor Boat Factory here in Fort Dodge will be closing within the next few months. The work that is currently done at the location here will be moved to a facility in Indiana. The closing is expected to result in a loss of over 40 jobs. In sports, high school basketball on the agenda tonight. The Alpha Media family of stations with 3 games for you to choose from. On 105.9 The Beach, the South Central Calhoun Titans at home hosting Southeast Valley. The Titan girls will look to get back on track after a loss to number 1 ranked Newell Fonda on Friday night. And the Titan boys will look to extend their winning streak to 11 games. To do that, they'll have to avenge a loss to Southeast Valley, which was the last team to beat them back on December 16th. Join Brian Peters on the call of those games, a 5:45 p.m. scheduled start time for the girls' pregame show, with the boys to follow. On 92 Rock, the Fort Dodge Dodgers at home hosting Des Moines North. The Dodger girls coming off a win on Saturday on the road against Waterloo East. And Dodger coach Scott Messerly says he was happy with the road effort.
You know, we played pretty darn good over there, I thought. You know, it was a good game for us, and they all, up and down the lineup, they played good.
The Dodger boys will look to get back in the win column and snap their losing skid as well. You can hear those games beginning with a 6 p.m. scheduled start for the girls' pregame show, with the boys to follow. The St. Edmund Gales in action tonight on the road at Humboldt. The Gales girls still looking for their first win of the season, and the boys look to snap a 4-game losing skid. Join Greg Woods for the call of those games on Sunny 99.7, a 6 p.m. scheduled start time for the girls' pregame show, with the boys to follow. And as always, you can catch all of our high school basketball coverage at yourfortdodge.com. That's your Alpha Media News Update from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom. I'm Rob Jones.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD Weatherology forecast. High of 22 this afternoon under overcast skies, northerly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Overcast skies again tonight, lows level off around 6 above. A blend of clouds and sun tomorrow, high of 24. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times Thursday with a high of 29. 25 Friday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 21.
Here's looking how the markets closed on Tuesday. I'm Jesse Stewart reporting for Dwayne Murley. Grains were higher. March soybeans up 2.5 at 8.79.5. May beans up 2 1/4 at 8.93. July beans up 1 3/4 at 9.06 1/4. March bean meal down $1.30 a ton at 288.50. March bean oil up 44 points at 30.73. March quart up 3.5 at 382 1/4. May quart up 3.5 at 388. July quart up 3 1/4 at 392 3/4. March Chicago wheat up 1 3/4 at 557 1/4. March Kansas City winter wheat up a half penny at 467 1/4. Lean hogs February up 45 at 56.75. April hogs down 40 at 62.32. May hogs down 35 at 70.90. Live cattle February down 5 at 121.62. April down 7 at 120.65. June live cattle down 25 at 111.75. March feeder cattle up 85 at 137.15. April up 57 at 138.92. May feeder cattle up 50 at 141.30. I'm Jesse Stewart reporting.
Calorie counts on menus don't always lead us to making healthier dietary choices. I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield. Last year, the FDA required any restaurant with 20 or more locations to display the calorie content of every food item on their menus. The labeling aims to help consumers make healthier choices in restaurants and fast food chains for long-term reductions in obesity and related chronic diseases. The new study in the British Medical Journal found that people ate less calories after menus started posting the numbers, but that change didn't last. For example, customers at fast food chains in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas ordered 60 fewer calories per transaction when the figures were first displayed. But after a year of labeling, the estimated decrease dropped to 23 calories per transaction. Researchers say the initial drop in calories was driven by people buying less side items and purchasing lower calorie items. Overall, labeling led to a small decrease in calories per transaction in a sample of about 100 fast food restaurants, but that was followed by a gradual weekly increase. The study concludes that calorie labeling alone might not be enough to make sustainable reductions in how many calories we take in at fast food restaurants. I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help.
Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
This is the story of Julie Guillot. She's a Leukemia and Lymphoma Society advocate and the mother of a child who battled blood cancer.
Zach was diagnosed with AML, a deadly leukemia, when he was only 5. He died at just 9 years old, really from the treatment that was meant to save him.
Today, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is pioneering breakthrough treatments for kids with cancer. Visit LLS.org and save a child's life.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
On this edition of the Iowa Business Report,
it's allowed us to turn things around very quickly. Instead of waiting weeks, sometimes even a month or more on certain documents that they file, we can get back to them instantly.
As Iowa business and industry changes, so too does the way the Iowa Secretary of State's office connects with those businesses. We'll explain. The political spotlight is on Iowa, but how does that translate to dollars for our state's economy? And in our profile segment, we'll tell you about a family-owned company that sells its products in more than 80 foreign countries and holds more than 80 U.S. patents. This is the Iowa Business Report for the first weekend of February 2020.
The Iowa Business Report is presented with support from the Iowa Association of Business and Industry. The Iowa Association of Business and Industry has been the voice of Iowa business since 1903. Learn more online at iowaabi.org. Here is Jeff Stein.
Most folks who start or run businesses like the challenge of connecting with customers, providing a good product or service, and creating a positive work environment. They don't like dealing with government paperwork. The Iowa Secretary of State's office is in charge of that paperwork for business entities. And as a small business owner himself, Secretary of State Paul Pate says he understands and is working to make things more efficient.
We are a portal for small business. We touch in some way or another almost every business. When you go to create one, the incorporation process, if you're looking at registering trademarks, many special companies like travel agencies go through our office. There's a whole litany, if you will, but it's also an opportunity for us to guide them to other agencies. We try to make sure our website has some of those types of tips to get them where they need to go. We've tried to be more of an advocate for small business in identifying what kind of hurdles we can work with other state agencies to try to make more manageable. Those are all pieces of it. And I'm really pleased to say Iowa's economy is really robust. We've seen record numbers of new businesses being organized in this state, whether it be our various UCC filings are up now as well, showing economic growth. These are all good indicators. I don't need to go to the Wall Street Journal. I can tell you right here now, I've seen what's happening in Iowa. So we work on that every single day.
The ability to serve business in a very different way, to make it more efficient. The internet age has really changed how we do that, hasn't it?
It is amazing. Unfortunately, we were killing off far too many trees in the old days. Now it's right at your fingertips. With fast track filings, with 24-hour access. We truly are working at the speed of business, not government. So if you need something at 2 in the morning, you can access it through our websites. You want to file documents, you can do that anytime it works for you. And that fits what most entrepreneurs are. Most entrepreneurs are busy from 7 in the morning until late hours running their business, and then they have to still deal with administrative tasks, and those are done quite commonly on weekends or after hours. So we're there for them in that sense. It's allowed us to turn things around very quickly. Instead of waiting weeks, sometimes even a month or more on certain documents that they file, we can get back to them instantly. And I think that's a big step forward. And I'm pleased to say that compared to other states, we're very cost efficient. We aren't gouging. We don't charge for access to our website like Minnesota does and some others. I think we're there to be of service to the small businesses of Iowa.
We're talking about how this may help business, but it seems to me this helps consumers an awful lot too, because the information you have available allows someone to check ownership records, whether they're in good standing, a variety of things. So realistically, if I'm someone who is considering doing business with an entity, it might not be a bad idea to see how they rate and if they're in good standing with you.
Well, certainly. It's a lot of transparency. That's what this offers. You don't have to drive all the way to Des Moines, put a request in for some information. So much of it is right there at your fingertips. If you have some basic knowledge of what you're looking for, yes, you can find out and ascertain, who am I doing business with? Are they a real Iowa company? Are they in good standing? So that you know you're dealing with something reputable. You also have opportunities to learn more about the business that you didn't know before. Those are all tools, and I think they've been very beneficial. You don't have that everywhere. I mean, I keep saying, coming back to that, you look at the states around us, and they don't have all that information. And if they do, they charge for it. And I guess it could be an old thing. Seriously, I pay taxes. Why do I have to pay extra to access information you already charged somebody for to put online to begin with? So I'm very pleased that we're able to do that. Again, the end game is we want to have customer service so that when people, they want to call, they can. If they want to do it online, they can. They want to do it through the mail, they can. They have all those options. But the point is we're there to service them in such a fashion that they get service quickly and efficiently. And that's not a sales pitch. That's the business person in me saying government can do that.
Fast track filing. This is something that you started on a limited basis, but now the exciting news is this is really expanding. Talk about that, please.
Well, when I came back into the office, I kept saying to myself, with all this new technology, why are we still doing paper? We're asking people to send this paper to us, which means we have to open it, read it, stamp it, process it, put it through a bunch of hurdles and steps, which just takes time, frankly, when we have all these things available to us through the computer age. And so the fast track was logical, and we started that out with incorporations. This was a big step. We've now keep expanding it to every level of our services, and now we're doing the biennial reports. And I'm going to pat myself on the back and tell you that during my first term as a secretary, we used to do those as annual reports. Every single year, you would send your $30 or whatever the fee is to the state to tell us, yep, we're still here, and this is our contact name. Well, it took the Secretary of State's office a long time to process all those, frankly, back in those days, because it wasn't online. And when I came back in, I said, this is ridiculous. Let's go to biennial. And so that reduces the costs, means you don't have to file it all the time. So we've gone to that. Well, now we've gone a step better. Now we're saying you don't have to do this through the mail. We can handle this all right online at your leisure. Do your biennial report, and if you've changed something, maybe you've changed the office address of your business or your contact name, you do that in the update. Otherwise, it's real quick and simple. So that everything that touches this office, our goal is to have it online and fast tracking it so you can do it and have the results instantly.
It seems to me most people, especially small business, but it doesn't have to be, and you can define small business in a variety of ways. You really only have time to take care of your business because, as you mentioned, you're at it by 7 in the morning, you're there well after sunset, and the last thing you want to face is a pile of paperwork or yet another, in your mind, government report. And so this takes a lot of the mystery out of it, and it, again, makes it approachable is the word that keeps coming to my mind.
Well, most certainly, and I think in perhaps approachable or manageable. I think when you own a small business, you have a dream, you have inspiration that you're going out and you're trying to put this business on track so it's successful. And the government should not be a hurdle. It should not be the one who stops you. You've got enough challenges with the marketplace and financing and other things that go along with being a business person. So if there's anything I can do as maybe an ombudsman for business or just coming from my background owning my own business, I want to do that to help them navigate government. It's that old line, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. We all chuckle, but I'd like to try to put a little better spin on that and maybe perhaps do that. I affectionately say, we're the guys that wear the white hat. We're not out there to hurt you and make your job harder. So when they have suggestions, I try to champion them, and this is one of them. Fast track filing is one, and some of these others. There are things that are necessary to assure consumers that these businesses are real. It's a protection for the small business. Sometimes they don't think of it that way. It's like, oh, there you go, I got to file another piece of paper. It is really there so that the consumer knows who the business really is. Because if you're calling yourself XYZ template company, well, who the heck is XYZ? It's not like saying this is Paul Pate's carpentry store. So we need to have that component still, but we got to do it in a manageable way.
Iowa Secretary of State Paul Pate. Expanded fast-track filing was announced just this past week. More information is on their website, sos.iowa.gov. And there's more of the conversation with Secretary Pate. You'll find it as one of our IBR Extra podcasts. Still to come, the economic benefit of the Iowa caucuses. And you'll hear about an Iowa business that rewards employee loyalty and dedication. You're listening to the Iowa Business Report.
Message and data rates may apply.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 200 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll learn the same degree as you would on campus from wherever you are on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, text THINK to 35517. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates, and why 88% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, text THINK to 35517. That's THINK to 35517.
Michael Devine.
You're very clever, my charming little friend.
With more stimulating talk radio.
But not clever enough.
The Iowa Business Report is a copyrighted production of Totally Iowa Media, which is solely responsible for its content. For more, click on the radio programs button at totallyiowa.com.
Iowa becomes the center of the political universe every 4 years thanks to our first in the nation presidential precinct caucuses. We know of their value to the political process, but what's the economic value to Iowans? Greg Edwards is president and CEO of Catch Des Moines, the Greater Des Moines Convention and Visitors Bureau. He says computing true economic value to the state is difficult, but he does have a good handle on value to Iowa's capital city.
We feel very strongly about these numbers because we can input, again, number of hotel stays, number of people in town, things like that. And we're projecting just for the caucus week alone, it'll generate $11.3 million in economic impact.
Now, put that number into context because Des Moines has been very aggressive about recruiting NCAA basketball weekends and packages as part of the tournament. How does a caucus week compare with one of those weeks?
Yeah, actually, caucus is going to bring in a few more dollars because, number one, it's a longer stay. I mean, most of the media this week are probably coming in Tuesday, Wednesday nights, and they're going to stay here till the following Tuesday. So 6-7 night stays, where, an NCAA basketball tournament, you're going to have a 2 to 3 night stay. Any of the other major conventions we do here and other sporting events and things, that's pretty much the norm too, probably a 3 night stay. So, it's a longer stay. These folks are, again, from all over the country and all over the world, and some are from the major cities and major media outlets and things like that, so they are maybe not particularly as cautious about their spending. So, they're dining places they want to dine and staying in hotels they want to stay at and all those good kinds of things.
When we think of economic impact of tourism, obviously we think of these things such as restaurants, hotels, and maybe some downtown shops simply because the venues are often downtown. Are there some other things that go into the computation, other businesses that benefit directly that we may not think of on the surface?
Yeah, it's funny because when you sit down and think about economic impact in the tourism world, and I go way back, I've been in this industry a long time, and we used to say things like, well, that dollar will turn over 5 to 8 times in a community. And we had all these different kind of calculations and scenarios. But really, you think about it, just think about your own family taking a vacation. So you spend the night in a hotel, you're going to eat in restaurants, you're going to stop for gasoline, you're going to stop at convenience stores and buy things. You're even possibly, when you get to your destination, going to go to a grocery store and stock up even more. You may go to a liquor store, something like that. You're then going to spend your money on entertainment. Entertainment may be movie, a bowling, a major attraction, on and on and on. And then the dollar goes so many different places. Then you stop and think, well, how many people does that affect? Where you're spending these money then, these are, for the most part, small business owners. So then they are re-spending those dollars on other things. They're hiring employees. They're using a local bank to put their money in, all of those different scenarios. So it makes quite a huge puzzle to the whole picture.
Greg Edwards of Catch Des Moines. More information about tourism in Iowa's capital city can be found online at catchdesmoines.com. Up next, we'll introduce you to the folks who make the storage bins for Iowa's bumper crops. You're listening to the Iowa Business Report.
Hi, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green, the concentrated cleaner that's perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new again. Visit us at simplegreen.com.
Simple Green.
Upgrade to the wiper blades trusted by Rainer Zietlow to break world records. Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades are real-world proven for extreme weather performance that lasts 2 times longer than other blades. The new Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades are only available at Walmart.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major stock averages have wiped out the losses for the year after encouraging news from China. Its central bank has taken steps to make money available to deal with the economic impact of the coronavirus. And the Commerce Department says factory orders rose 1.8% in December. It's a stronger reading than economists were predicting. Tesla shares rose to records, over $900 a share today. After a huge gain on Monday, it was helped by upbeat comments from analysts. Royal Caribbean Cruises reported a strong holiday quarter, though the company says the ongoing coronavirus outbreak will have an impact on its business in China for the short term. They add, "We are a long-term business, and our plans to continue growing in this profitable market remain unchanged." That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
Hey, check out this report of our Office 365 email and the threats sitting in users' inboxes.
Wow, how did you get this?
There's a free tool called Barracuda Email Threat Scanner that can quickly and safely scan our Office 365 email for hidden threats like spear phishing and domain fraud.
Really?
Yeah, Barracuda Email Threat Scanner identifies hidden threats and employees most at risk for a cyber attack, all summarized in a complete report.
This is great.
Get your free email threat scan now at barracuda.com. Barracuda, your journey secured.
Take the worry out of winter with the Winter Weather Advisor on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD. We'll keep you informed on hazardous driving conditions, delays, cancellations, and closings. The Winter Weather Advisor is brought to you by Superior Siding, experts at siding, roofing, windows, and gutters. Superior Siding, providing you with the service you deserve. For more information, find Superior Siding at superiorsidingwindows.com. Take the worry out of winter with the Winter Weather Advisor on the Voice of Fort Dodge, KVFD.
You're listening to AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I'm Michael Devine. I want to thank you for listening. Next hour, we'll have David Fierk and Jim Kirsten. Jim will talk about how well the Republican Party conducted their caucuses last night. Of course, to be fair, they didn't have quite as much to deal with. The Democrats had more candidates and, well, more stupid people, it appears. 4 o'clock, KVFD, Fort Dodge, Iowa.
If you're a gearhead or not, you'll enjoy the Under the Hood Car Show every Saturday afternoon from 2 till 4 on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400, KVFD.
Decision time for the president's jury. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Senators are announcing how they will vote tomorrow when the impeachment trial resumes. And one key GOP senator has just spoken. Fox's Rachel Sutherland is live in Washington.
Lisa, Republican Susan Collins of Maine says President Trump demonstrated poor judgment when he asked the leader of Ukraine to investigate Democrats and the Bidens, but she says she will acquit on both articles of impeachment.
We should entrust to the people the most fundamental decision of a democracy, namely who should lead their country.
Collins did join fellow Republican Mitt Romney in voting for the Senate to hear additional documents and witnesses at the trial. Lisa?
Well, Rachel, White House spokesman Hogan Gidley says the word impeachment is not in tonight's State of the Union address, at least not the written version. The president will focus in part on economic success.
The president takes his message directly to the American people, unfiltered. He'll go through some of the numbers.
Also highlighting areas where he wants to do more, including health care. Democrats are still waiting to hear who won last night's Iowa caucuses. They're about to release partial results. The state Democratic Party chair, Troy Price, speaking moments ago.
This is personal to me. I'm a lifelong Iowan. I have caucused for 20 years. And I know how important it is to our party, to our state, and to everyone from our neighbors to new voters, to be able to come together all across this state.
Party officials say a coding issue with a new app is what has caused the delay, but they say there is a data trail and the paper trail, and they say the data is accurate. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Quicken Loans is celebrating our best quarter ever, and now we're celebrating some of the lowest refinancing rates ever. Rates are historically low. You may be able to reduce your rate and save money on your monthly mortgage payment right now. This is your chance. Pay off some credit card debt or put some money towards that new bathroom or kitchen you've always wanted. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%. APR 4.23%. That's right, 3.99%. APR 4.23%. While we can't predict what will happen in the future, we do know that rates have dropped, and now is the time to save money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn how refinancing now may be the right mortgage solution for you. That's 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rates subject to change. Pay 2% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Recapping what's happening in Iowa right now, they're about to release some partial results, long awaited, from last night's Democratic caucuses. The state Democratic Party chairman says that 62% is what's going to be released. Results from 62% of the precincts from all of Iowa's 99 counties. They say a coding issue with a new app caused the delay. The app maker is apologizing.
Shadow Incorporated took to Twitter to say it regrets the delay and uncertainty brought to candidates and caucus goers alike. The company says collection of data was sound, but problems came in transmitting the results. Shadow says the issues never compromised the data it sought to deliver. It says the issue has already been corrected and will apply lessons learned in the future.
Fox's Gernal Scott, despite the reassurances, Nevada's Democratic Party has decided not to use the app for its upcoming caucuses. Love after tragedy for one high-profile executive in the tech world.
Facebook's chief operating officer, Sheryl Sandberg, is engaged to Tom Bernthal, the CEO of a consulting firm called Kelton Global. A 50-year-old executive announcing the news on the social network with a photo of the two, captioning, "You are my everything. I could not love you more." The engagement comes 5 years after Sandberg's husband, David Goldberg, died unexpectedly while on a family vacation. Sandberg has 2 children. Bernthal, who is 46, has 3. He is also the brother of actor John Bernthal, who stars in the Netflix series The Punisher.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. Big day on Wall Street. The Dow up over 400 points, its biggest percentage gain since last August, over 1.4% on the day. The NASDAQ up more than 2% to a new record high. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
From the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones. The results of last night's caucus still have not been released. They are expected to be revealed sometime today. The delay is due to issues with a mobile app used to report results to the Iowa Democratic Party. The issues are said to be both on the technical side and errors on the user side. Reports say that caucus leaders at some sites had trouble with the instructions on downloading the app. Then when sites began to report the data through the app, they discovered the data was only partial results. The app was developed by a company called Shadow, who discovered a coding error in their system that they later fixed. A Microsoft-built app was used in the 2016 caucus. That app did not have any reported issues. 4th District Congressman Steve King was in attendance at the Republican caucus last night at Iowa Central Community College. King was there to show support for President Trump, and he says that the president has continued to accomplish things even while being impeached.
Walking through the fire and getting things done while he's being shot at the whole time. I mean, it reminds me of going into the hospital in Balad in Iraq, where they took the most patients, the most traumatized patients. They had sandbags up just head high, and you have as many as 8 different doctors working on a patient at any single time while they're being mortared. Being mortared the whole time, and he's focusing on the patient, which is the United States of America.
King went on to say that Democrats have been working on impeaching the president since he was first elected.
President Trump was elected on November 8th of 2016. November 9th was the first speech by a seated member of Congress that they were going to impeach Donald Trump. And they set about doing that. Then the following Sunday, they gathered together at the Mandarin Hotel in Washington, D.C., George Soros, the hierarchy of the Democratic Party, and out of there, they strategized on how they were going to deny Donald Trump the ability to govern this country and keep his promises.
Company officials announced yesterday that the Misty Harbor Boat Factory here in Fort Dodge will be closing within the next few months. The work that is currently done at the location here will be moved to a facility in Indiana. The closing is expected to result in a loss of over 40 jobs. In sports, high school basketball on the agenda tonight. The Alpha Media family of stations with 3 games for you to choose from. On 105.9 The Beach, the South Central Calhoun Titans at home hosting Southeast Valley. The Titan girls will look to get back on track after a loss to number 1 ranked Newell Fonda on Friday night. And the Titan boys will look to extend their winning streak to 11 games. To do that, they'll have to avenge a loss to Southeast Valley, which was the last team to beat them back on December 16th. Join Brian Peters on the call of those games, a 5:45 p.m. scheduled start time for the girls' pregame show, with the boys to follow. On 92 Rock, the Fort Dodge Dodgers at home hosting Des Moines North. The Dodger girls coming off a win on Saturday on the road against Waterloo East. And Dodger coach Scott Messerly says he was happy with the road effort.
You know, we played pretty darn good over there, I thought. You know, it was a good game for us, and they all, up and down the lineup, they played good.
The Dodger boys will look to get back in the win column and snap their losing skid as well. You can hear those games beginning with a 6 p.m. scheduled start for the girls' pregame show, with the boys to follow. The St. Edmund Gales in action tonight on the road at Humboldt. The Gales girls still looking for their first win of the season, and the boys look to snap a 4-game losing skid. Join Greg Woods for the call of those games on Sunny 99.7, a 6 p.m. scheduled start time for the girls' pregame show, with the boys to follow. And as always, you can catch all of our high school basketball coverage at yourfortdodge.com. That's your Alpha Media News Update from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom. I'm Rob Jones.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. High of 22 this afternoon under overcast skies, northerly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Overcast skies again tonight, lows level off around 6 above. A blend of clouds and sun tomorrow, high of 24. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times Thursday with a high of 29. 25 Friday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 20.
Ooh, I love that house.
Yeah, but look whose sign is in the yard. That's not who we're working with.
We don't have to work with them just because they have it listed. Our agent at Neighborhood Realty can show us the house.
They can?
Well, sure. They can show us any house we like, no matter whose sign is in the yard.
Well, then let's call Neighborhood Realty for a tour.
Hi, I'm Heather Reck with Neighborhood Realty. Stop in or check us out online today at neighborhood-realty.net. Neighborhood Realty, devoted to your real estate needs.
Meaningful memorialization starts when loved ones talk about what matters most.
Grandpa, this card asks, what was your favorite vacation?
Well, we didn't go on vacation when I was a kid, but our family did go fishing when we could. My dad could always find the best fishing holes, and he taught me how to clean the fish, too.
You mean you ate the fish you caught?
You bet.
Sharing stories and memories with those who matter most isn't just important today, it will be especially significant when it's time to honor a life lived. Contact Gunderson Funeral Home to learn more about having the talk of a lifetime.
Connect to this radio station from all across the country. Take us to the gym, shopping. How about a road trip? Listen to us now on the free iHeartRadio app. You'll never miss a moment with your favorite radio station. Download the free iHeartRadio app and search for this station so we can go wherever you want us to.
Your office. Whether it's a home office or an office, it's where you conduct your business. It reflects who you are. You got a handsome desk, a stylish chair, even your pencil holder completes the look. Everything is right. Well, everything but that crummy plastic mat under your office chair. It dents and cracks, the corners curl up. Why do you have that? You need the Glass Chair Mat by Vitraza. Smooth enough to glide on and strong enough to hold 1,000 pounds. Our glass chair mats never dent. You get a lifetime warranty and it's beautiful. Get the look you deserve. You won't find Vitraza glass chair mats at the office superstore. You order direct at Vitraza.com. That's V as in Victor, ITRAZZA.com. Shipping is free and you save 10% with discount code OFFICE. That's $25 to $75 off any Vitraza glass chair mat with discount code OFFICE. Vitraza.com.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
Well, David Fierix here. I'm not sure he makes me want to shoot, but he's here. Anyway, this is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. I'm Michael Devine. Yes, we are going to tell the truth, make it matter, and and never be boring. My phone's blowing up over the loserdom of the Democratic Party. I disassociate David Fierix with my remarks, but
I'm apolitical.
I know you are. Yeah, this is so embarrassing. I mean, did you see anybody outside on Central Avenue wearing bags on their head?
No.
Those are the Democrats, by the way. They still don't have it done. 65%, they say. Now.
I know. We were just watching it.
God, how embarrassing is this?
Yeah.
And they have cost us millions and perhaps billions of dollars. Our first in the nation caucuses are done. After 2016 and the coin flip? Who the hell is going to come here and say, yeah, let's really make an appearance and spend a lot of money in Iowa, knowing that they probably will screw things up somehow?
So who makes that decision ultimately? I mean, the state of Iowa makes the decision when they're holding their caucus, right?
Yeah.
Or is it the party?
No, it's the state of Iowa.
It's the state. So the state sets the date when they're going to do it.
That's right.
So the national party couldn't do anything. National parties, either Republican or Democrat, couldn't do anything to change that, but other than somebody would just have to go before Iowa, right?
Yeah, that's what will happen. The national party will change it. They'll step in now. Mm-hmm. There has been a conversation for years, of course, that Iowa's not diverse enough for the big liberal diverse Democrats, which is a big bore. Iowa and New Hampshire both. Mm-hmm. Somebody said Illinois is a diverse place, but I've been to Illinois. It looked pretty Caucasian to me. You're white, right? You look like a big white guy.
Yeah.
You're from Illinois and stuff?
I am from Illinois. Downstate.
Downstate Illinois, okay.
There's two Illinois, by the way. There's the downstate Illinois, and then there's Chicago.
That's the way it is in Minnesota. There's the interstate and the outer state, and the interstate's Minneapolis area. Yeah. And then you get up into Paul Bunyan country around Brainerd and stuff, and there's a lot of fishing resorts, which I have frequented in my younger days. It was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. What's going on over at City Hall? Anything in particular?
Well, it's a little bit quieter. We didn't have a council meeting last night, so it's a change of plans. We were doing budget hearings on every Monday in January, and so last night we didn't have anything because there was so much excitement going on with the caucuses, and we wouldn't want to. We wouldn't want to steal the thunder of the results from the caucus. Oh, that's right. We don't have the results yet. Darn it.
We don't have the results yet. Yeah.
No, but
still don't have them. Trump won. Trump won big time. I didn't even know this Joseph Walsh guy was still running, but apparently he is.
Is that the guy from the Eagles?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
so. It's a different Joe Walsh?
It's a different Joe Walsh.
Oh, okay.
And then William Weld comes out of the dark recesses of the past. Mr. Weld, nobody wants you to be anything. I mean, go back to Boston and try to run for governor again. It's ridiculous. But, this was, oh, gosh, it's just been terrible to look at all day. I take pride in my state, and everybody is calling us morons this morning. I mean, they're trying to be nice about it, but I turned on the early morning talk shows, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. Joe Scarborough, particularly. Of course, I never liked him anyway. But Scarborough was just in a state, he was just, I suppose that's his job. I mean, I understand that. But
I know it's too bad it makes the whole state look bad on a national level.
Makes us look like a bunch of dumb farmers. Thank you very much.
decisions that most of us had nothing to do with.
That's right. And by the way, most of our farmers are college educated, you buttheads, and those who are still farming are very, very prosperous business people.
And we have one of the best education systems in the country.
Yes, we do. But that all gets lost when saying, you know, I've got to get back to talking about the city, but I'm just so upset about this. So upset. Been upset all day. It's not doing me any good either. So there's budgeting. Are you involved a lot in the budgeting? You leave that to Jeff and.
Yeah, I'm involved quite a bit. So I mean, the budgeting process is really it starts kind of at the department head level where they come up with what they think their needs are for the next fiscal year, and then Jeff and I sit down and review that with them and see what we can do and what we're able to afford based on our estimated and identified revenue sources, and then we present it to the council for their review.
Sure.
And they ask questions and make statements as far as what I think are high priority things that we should be focusing on as far as the budget. And if we can, try to incorporate that stuff in there, have those discussions. So we're to the point now where we're pretty well done internally with the analysis and the work and revising numbers and trying to balance the general fund, which, so internally, administratively, we have a balanced general fund that we're going to discuss with council next week, have a kind of a review of that, and talk about some changes we had to make from the presentations they saw, because we had to cut some stuff back because we were running just with our first run of numbers was running a deficit, and so we had to correct that. So we cut some stuff back and allocated some monies differently, and now it'll be a balanced budget that's presented.
Yeah, balanced budget.
Mm-hmm.
So no major changes for any particular department, or
nothing significant that the public will observe as far as major changes. Now, when I say that, there could be a lot of construction projects. I mean, a lot of and that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about more on the operational side as far as
the operational side. What do you mean by operational
well, the thing
side?
Equipment, people, programs, the things that we offer as a city. I mean, you're not going to see anything significant change in any of those things. It's just going to, but we'll continue to do our big capital projects and have those going as well.
What are some of our big capital projects coming up for road construction this summer?
15th Street is going to be the big one.
15th Street is getting it this year. That's right. So I forgot about that.
So the intersection and that one in Central Avenue. So the intersections right in the middle of town are going to be just tore up. So.
It's got to be done. It's got to be done. I mean, the Crossroads Mall project a few years ago was a pain in the neck, but it's 100% better out there. Well, now, if we just had a mall.
Well, yeah. And, I mean, the nice thing about 15th Street is what the final intersection is going to look like is a lot like what you see now at First Avenue South and 29th and 25th is that same look with, good, dedicated turn lanes, both left turn lanes, right turn lanes, and through lanes, and make it so, traffic should move pretty good through there. Because right now it doesn't move the greatest, especially during busier times. There's a lot of waiting at 15th Street and First Avenue South. So, and 15th Street will, and that part will go down to a 3-lane cross section because, again, it'll operate better because it'll have dedicated turn lanes. Right now it's 4 lanes, but we don't have dedicated turn lanes. So, you can get stuck behind somebody. If you're in the left lane, you can get stuck behind someone, turn at Central. You can't get around them because there's no dedicated turn lane. There's not, and so it'll flow way smoother once we're done and safer.
Mm-hmm. Where are we at with broadband? I won't be here Thursday to bug Bemrick about it, so I got to hit you with these questions.
I remember, it's a slow process. So
I know it's a slow, but Matt was here a couple of weeks ago. I'm not kidding you. He was sitting in that chair that you're in right now, and he got a text that this Senator Dawson down at Council Bluffs was preparing a bill to prevent cities our size from getting broadband.
I know.
The evil Mediacom is still out there.
I know. I heard that bill is not going to go anywhere, but it was kind of a scary looking bill when it first came out.
He texted Senator Kreinbrink while he was on the air here, and then Tim had the misfortune of being here the next day. So, and then the day after that, it was Eggs and Issues.
Oh,
so he got right on it. He called Dawson, who was a Republican. But that was probably Chip Baltimore up to his little nefarious deeds again.
Probably.
Probably.
But, Yeah, I mean, so I don't think that bill's going anywhere, and the city is plugging along with it. I mean, it's a, again, right now we're in the process of developing the documents. We got some high level business plans that are in the works, and then the other part, and that's an important part, because then we can go and start having conversations with potential private partners. Because the first step in this is looking at is there a viable public-private partnership, so that we can bring in experts who know how to, or work with existing experts know how to run broadband systems. And then we just partner, and they build out a system throughout the city.
And of course, one of those experts is MediaCom.
Yeah.
A lot of us don't know how we feel about MediaCom being involved in the next stage private broadband in Fort Dodge.
Yeah, and I don't know I don't think they've done that as a model. I think they've kind of just done what they've done here, is try to fight it and then just deal with the fact they have competition. But there's several companies that are interested in Fort Dodge. I mean, if it's a public-private partnership, it's a big one compared to some of the other cities that have done it. So it's got some attention, not only from, but again, other partners who might want to come in and work on it, and also consulting firms that want to help us with it.
Sure,
So,
yeah, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Curtis Dean and Smart Consulting.
Yeah.
What is it? Smart
Source Consulting.
Smart Source. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Curtis Dean and his partner will still be a part of this. Who's his partner again?
I always mispronounce his last name. It's like Klikoff. Tim Klikoff.
Tim's a pretty sharp guy.
Yeah,
I had him on the air when we were having a big discussion about this.
Yeah.
And Curtis is an old radio guy,
Yeah.
so he communicates pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to know the nuts and bolts, it's Tim.
Yeah. It was funny. We were having issues. Last couple of days, we've had issues with our phone system because it's been dropping people and just not connecting well. Well, we're a system. We're voice over internet, so we get through MediaCom. So
of course.
I'm even hearing it. When are we getting a new broadband? It's like, hey, folks, this takes a while, but I don't know if it's been corrected yet. But in the last couple of days, we've been having issues with our phone system on and off.
Yeah, and that's
at
all
City Hall.
MediaCom.
So we're not being rude. We're not hanging up on people. If you get disconnected, it's the carrier.
But you have MediaCom phones.
We have MediaCom
Who else
phones.
would you have? Is Frontier?
Well,
I see
you could
Frontier's
have
still
Frontier.
got a building, but
yeah, I mean, there's still operational utility. We do have a Frontier backup, but for these intermittent outages, it really doesn't work. So
okay,
doesn't work good for that.
Okay, all right. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. City Manager David Furyk is our guest. If you have a question or comment for the city manager, 515-955-1400. So 15th Street is going to be done this summer, starting where and ending where?
Oh, gosh. I know it's starting a bit south of First Avenue South going, and then there's a couple phases, so I might mess this up. I think it's going north past Central this year. I don't know if it gets all the way to First North. I want to say it doesn't go all the way to First North yet. And then
So
there's
2 blocks?
Yeah, it's not much, but it's a lot of intersection work.
A lot of intersection work.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 major intersections. I don't think we're getting a second north. I think that's a future phase too. Because that's going to be tricky too, because you got that little S curve going in there. How do you straighten that out?
Yeah.
How do you make that work better? So I know we haven't designed that yet. So it's not a big long stretch, but it's going to have a significant impact.
So this could take a while to do.
Oh yeah,
15th Street.
It'll be phased out. It'll be phased out over. I mean, the long-term plan is to phase it out over time, and we don't have every phase in our 5-year CIP yet. But yeah, to basically
the CIP is what
capital
now?
improvement plan. Sorry,
There you go.
But yeah, it would be to do it all the way, including 6th and 7th Avenue North, and get all the way out, including those intersections, and get all the way out. Probably pass that at least to the bridge, and make changes there.
By the way, some information is trickling in. It looks like Webster County Democrats went for Pete Buttigieg last night. Of course,
wow.
We'll never really know, will we?
Yeah, there'll be conspiracy. There's already conspiracy theories being floated out on.
Well, they should
who
be.
designed the software or the app and what they did.
Well, Troy Price, the head of the Democratic Party, should resign if he hasn't already. But I don't think he has. They've been the Democratic Party is just. When I saw Troy Price on that news blurb from NBC, he looked terrified. He looks very intimidated, and he should.
Oh, I mean, could you imagine? I mean, you're trying to. I mean, you got everybody's attention. You're the you're center
of the world,
of the political world at that night, and just have an app just fail you.
Yeah. Well, they only had a couple of years really to prepare. I mean, gee, come on, guys. Anyway, so this will be 2 major intersections on 15th Street.
Yeah, we'll be doing that.
And they will be first
south and central.
And central. Mm-hmm. Okay. And those intersections will be closed for some time, I assume.
Yeah, I bet most of the summer.
Most of the summer they'll just be flat out closed.
Or different segments could be open at a time, but I don't quite know that. We'll get that staging plan out once we get closer to construction season.
You know, when that intersection out by the crossroads was tied up the whole summer, I never got used to it. I never took 2nd Avenue North and came around. I always went First Avenue South across the bridge there. And then, oh, God, here I am out here again,
Yeah,
stuff.
I always try to take 2nd when those intersections were in the works.
Well, that's the way to go, really, is that way. But I could never seem to get it through my head. And then, of course, Kemna had those big tires around there a lot, so you couldn't drive through. I don't blame Kemna. But I'd have to go around then, take that road up where they play. I don't know if they still play bingo up there or not, but
don't know.
That building up there, remember they used to have bingo?
Yeah, I don't know if they do bingo there anymore.
Now that I'm the age to play, I suppose they closed.
Yeah, you're kind of getting in their demographic now, Mike.
Yeah, I guess so. Can we go play bingos on Sunday afternoon? Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Okay. All right. Anything else happening over the city, David?
Well, it's probably worth noting. So on Monday the 10th, we are going to have a public hearing on our tax levy, and it's the new rules.
Monday the 10th.
Yeah, Monday the 10th. New rules established by the state require actually more public hearings now. If you and the way the state, when they put that new law in place where if you go over 2%, you have to have a public hearing and a supermajority vote, and the 2% is only on. It's not on every one of your line items in your tax levy. It's on everything but, for us, it's on everything but debt service and the band. We actually levy for the band, by the way.
You levied for what?
We have a tax levy for Carl King Band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's not much. I mean, it raises, I don't know, $30,000, $35,000 a year.
So it's well worth it.
It's just a couple pennies.
I
on the
love
dollar.
those band
It's just a couple pennies, but it's interesting how the Iowa law, written way back 100 years ago, allow you to levy a property tax
for a band.
Yeah.
Cool. For a band concert.
So those don't go in there. So the public notice we had to put out, which again is totally designed and mandated by the state, shows that our tax levy is going up like 6%. So and what is that is what was collected last year to what could be collected this year, just with those with not all of our levies. Now, our actual levy rate, we anticipate, again, this is internal administratively, and the council is going to review it and make a decision, but we anticipate having the same levy rate as we had last year of $20.42. So we don't expect to go up. So if people see that notice, don't necessarily react and think, okay, the city's just raising my taxes 6%. I mean, there's several things that go into taxes. One is rate, and then the other is value. And the city's rate is just a little bit more than half of the total rate just a little less than half of the total rate in the community. So I don't know what the other taxing bodies are doing. I mean, they don't know yet. They don't have to submit theirs quite yet either. So you can't make a determination just on that whether your taxes are actually going to go up or not. It has to do with your value and what the other rates that the other districts charge. But what we think is going to happen for Fort Dodge is we're planning on a stable tax levy rate for this fiscal year, and it's been stable like that. I think 4 or 5 years now we've had it at that same rate. So,
all right. David Furick, thank you for being here.
You're welcome, Mike.
City Manager David Furick has been our guest. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Michael Devine, broadcasting live.
It's 4:30. The news coming up.
When you're diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer,
a lot of questions run through your mind.
What am I going to do? What are my options? What did I do wrong? We've had those thoughts too.
But some questions can help you move forward.
Visit findyourmbcvoice.com for an interactive guide to help you learn the next steps to take after an MBC diagnosis.
And how to ask the questions that lead to an open and informed conversation with your doctor.
Start finding your voice today
at findyourmbcvoice.com.
From the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones. The results of last night's caucus still have not been released. They are expected to be revealed sometime today. The delay is due to issues with a mobile app used to report results to the Iowa Democratic Party. The issues are said to be both on the technical side and errors on the user side. Reports say that caucus leaders at some sites had trouble with the instructions on downloading the app. Then when sites began to report the data through the app, they discovered the data was only partial results. The app was developed by a company called Shadow, who discovered a coding error in their system that they later fixed. A Microsoft-built app was used in the 2016 caucus. That app did not have any reported issues. 4th District Congressman Steve King was in attendance at the Republican caucus last night at Iowa Central Community College. King was there to show support for President Trump, and he says that the president has continued to accomplish things even while being impeached.
Walking through the fire and getting things done while he's being shot at the whole time. I mean, it reminds me of going into the hospital in Balad in Iraq, where they took the most patients, the most traumatized patients. They had sandbags up just head high, and you have as many as 8 different doctors working on a patient at any single time while they're being mortared. Being mortared the whole time, and he's focusing on the patient, which is the United States of America.
King went on to say that Democrats have been working on impeaching the president since he was first elected.
President Trump was elected on November 8th of 2016. November 9th was the first speech by a seated member of Congress that they were going to impeach Donald Trump. And they set about doing that. Then the following Sunday, they gathered together at the Mandarin Hotel in Washington, D.C., George Soros, the hierarchy of the Democratic Party. And out of there, they strategized on how they were going to deny Donald Trump the ability to govern this country and keep his promises.
Company officials announced yesterday that the Misty Harbor Boat Factory here in Fort Dodge will be closing within the next few months. The work that is currently done at the location here will be moved to a facility in Indiana. The closing is expected to result in a loss of over 40 jobs. In sports, high school basketball on the agenda tonight. The Alpha Media family of stations with 3 games for you to choose from. On 105.9 The Beach, the South Central Calhoun Titans at home hosting Southeast Valley. The Titan girls will look to get back on track after a loss to number 1 ranked Newell Fonda on Friday night. And the Titan boys will look to extend their winning streak to 11 games. To do that, they'll have to avenge a loss to Southeast Valley, which was the last team to beat them back on December 16th. Join Brian Peters on the call of those games, a 5:45 p.m. scheduled start time for the girls' pregame show, with the boys to follow. On 92 Rock, the Fort Dodge Dodgers at home hosting Des Moines North. The Dodger girls coming off a win on Saturday on the road against Waterloo East. And Dodger coach Scott Messerly says he was happy with the road effort.
You know, we played pretty darn good over there, I thought. You know, it was a good game for us, and they all, up and down the lineup, they played good.
The Dodger boys will look to get back in the win column and snap their losing skid as well. You can hear those games beginning with a 6 p.m. scheduled start for the girls' pregame show, with the boys to follow. The St. Edmund Gales in action tonight on the road at Humboldt. The Gales girls still looking for their first win of the season, and the boys look to snap a 4-game losing skid. Join Greg Woods for the call of those games on Sunny 99.7, a 6 p.m. scheduled start time for the girls' pregame show, with the boys to follow. And as always, you can catch all of our high school basketball coverage at yourfortdodge.com. That's your Alpha Media News Update from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom. I'm Rob Jones.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge, 435. First of all, in the weather, our high today was 22 degrees. It's 20 right now. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low of 8. A wind chill factor temperature will be down there, perhaps below 0. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 25. Wind chill factor temperatures maybe 0 or below tomorrow. Thursday, sunny with a high of 27. On Friday, there is a chance of snow before noon, mostly cloudy with a high of 28. On Saturday, it'll be sunny with a high of 26. Sunday, mostly cloudy with a high of 34. And on Monday, it'll be mostly cloudy with a high of 31 degrees. Again, here in town, it's 20 degrees. Obituaries this hour brought to you by the historic Bruce Funeral Home at 923 First Avenue South, Fort Dodge. You may contact the historic Bruce Funeral Home by calling 515-576-5117 or online at www.brucefuneralhome.com. Mike Klinger of Arizona has passed away at the age of 75. Mike Klinger, formerly of Fort Dodge, has died. There will be a service this Saturday for Mike Klinger, former Fort Dodge resident. Willie Naylor has died. Funeral services for Willie Nelson will be there. Willie Nelson, excuse me very much. For Willie Naylor will be held at 12 o'clock on Saturday here in town. That's for Willie J. Naylor. Obituaries this hour brought to you by the historic Bruce Funeral Home at 923 First Avenue South, Fort Dodge. You may contact the historic Bruce Funeral Home by calling 515-576-5117 or online at www.brucesfuneralhome.com. It's 20 degrees at AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge 437. Here's Jesse Stewart.
Here's looking how the markets closed on Tuesday. I'm Jesse Stewart reporting for Dwayne Murley. Grains were higher. March soybeans up 2.5 at 879.5. May beans up 2 1/4 at 893. July beans up 1 3/4 at 906 1/4. March bean meal down $1.30 a ton at 288.50. March bean oil up 44 points at 30.73. March quart up 3 1/2 at 382 1/4. May quart up 3 1/2 at 388. July quart up 3 1/4 at 392 3/4. March Chicago wheat up 1 3/4 at 557 1/4. March Kansas City winter wheat up a half penny at 467 1/4. Lean hogs February up 45 at 56.75. April hogs down 40 at 62.32. May hogs down 35 at 70.90. Live cattle February down 5 at 121.62. April down 7 at 120.65. June live cattle down 25 at 111.75. March feeder cattle up 85 at 137.50. April up 57 at 138.92. May feeder cattle up 50 at 141.30. I'm Jesse Stewart reporting.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages closing higher as coronavirus fears ease. Mike Murphy with Rosecliff Capital Management has this assessment of the situation.
I see this as pretty simple. One of two things happen here. Either the virus wipes us all out, so none of it matters, or we get past it and there's a rally, so it's a great time to buy on any pullbacks.
Among the gainers today, tech, with the Dow rising 144 points, the Nasdaq up 122, S&P 500 up 23. And after the closing bell, Alphabet, parent company of Google, reporting earnings with its stock falling 4% on a revenue miss but a beat on earnings, marking a dramatic change from previous earnings announcements. Alphabet releasing revenue for its cloud computing and YouTube ads units, posting $2.6 billion and $4.2 billion in quarterly revenue from them respectively. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
At Capital One, you can open a new savings account in about 5 minutes and earn 5 times the national average. Banking with Capital One means 5 times the savings to help pay for your perfect honeymoon.
Not a fan of ziplining!
Or 5 times the savings toward your family's perfect vacation.
Big fan of water rides.
It's time to help make your savings goals come true. This is Banking Reimagined. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Rate comparison based on FDIC national rate. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Now through March 7th, almost everything at Party Productions and the other store is on sale during the Customer Appreciation Sale. General merchandise is 20% off, food is 10% off, and wine is $2 off. All NFL, 20% off. Melissa and Doug, 20% off. Magic, 20% off. School Spirit, 20% off. Don't miss your chance to save big now through March 7th at Party Productions, 1919 First Avenue North, and the other store in the Crossroads Mall, Fort Dodge.
Going a little crazy this time of year is natural, but if you or someone you love is allergic to peanuts, being a little nutty is no laughing matter. That's why all of Country Hearth's delicious bread varieties are made without tree nuts and peanuts, freshly baked with whole grains and natural sweeteners in our nut-free facilities. Country Hearth breads are the natural choice. Country Hearth breads, baking our best for you.
Take the worry out of winter with the Winter Weather Advisor on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD. We'll keep you informed on hazardous driving conditions, delays, cancellations, and closings. The Winter Weather Advisor is brought to you by Superior Siding, experts at siding, roofing, windows, and gutters. Superior Siding, providing you with the service you deserve. For more information, find Superior Siding at superiorsidingwindows.com. Take the worry out of winter with the Winter Weather Advisor on the Voice of Fort Dodge, KVFD.
There's an app to save on flights, an app to rent a bike, and an app to help you save for driving safely. The Allstate app gives you real-time driving feedback with DriveWise, giving you the power to lower your insurance cost. In fact, safe drivers can save 40% or more. Connect and save with DriveWise. You're in good hands.
Download the Allstate app today. Savings may vary by state and driving behaviors. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Use of Allstate Mobile with activation of DriveWise required. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Michael Devine.
You're very clever, my charming little friend.
With more stimulating talk radio.
Well, let's see. It's 4:41, and we still only have 62% of the caucus precincts reporting. Joining me now is Jim Kirsten, a longtime Republican. Jim, congratulations to you and the rest of the Republicans on your successful caucus last night. I see you nominated. You
went well.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. It appears you've renominated President Trump to run for another term. And by the time he's reelected, do you suppose the Democrats will have it together enough to tell us who's running on their ticket?
Yeah, it's an embarrassment to everybody, but I feel I feel bad for the 200,000 or whatever number of people who voted. That now they're going to question, is my vote accurate? And I hope that the facts come out that it will be respected number and that they can move on. Because I'd hate Iowa to have that black eye. And I think our state and national Republican leaders are trying to say, you know what, let's wait and make a decision on who's at fault and what happened until all the facts are out. So I have a lot of friends who are good Democrats, and I just feel bad for the people that showed up to vote and the system didn't deliver for them.
Well, they were in charge of the system, Jim. I mean, and they had plenty of time to prepare for this day. And they completely screwed it up. And this is a disaster for our state. I've been talking all afternoon. Democrats at this time brought a number of candidates here who spent millions and millions and millions of dollars in our state. And I'm fearful that we'll lose our first-in-the-nation caucuses.
Well, I think, again, I'm very worried about that as well because, I've been involved in standing caucuses since 1976, and it's been a great process. I think if nothing else, the next cycle, hopefully they'll have a better backup system because that's my understanding is they had a backup that didn't work, and then that caused the chaos. But I think they were smart not to release numbers until they accurately, prove that these are what they honestly believe are the real numbers. So again, I'm not going to jump to judgment until, everybody's got a 2-hour news cycle now and people are bent out of shape. But I think hopefully its facts come out. They can convince the voters that participated as Democrats that their vote was counted accurately.
Yeah, I would think that the Democrats aren't saying much because they're embarrassed. I'm sure among the rank and file, they can't believe what they're seeing today. Anyway, that's enough of that. As far as the Republican caucus went last night, of course, Congressman King was there, and Representative Feenstra both, and they made their case as to why they should be the next Republican candidate to run for the congressional 4th seat. How do you see that one going? I still think, Randy Feenstra is a good guy. I've met him many times over the years. Very bright guy and very personal guy. Do you really think he's going to be the nominee? Because I just don't.
Steve King, I said all along, is going to have a strong base of supporters in the 30 to 35% range, and you just need to win it. I think it's the majority of those votes that are cast. But I think there's 4 candidates running. So whoever gets that majority, I believe, wins, and that that's who the nominee is going to be. So the key is, will Randy Feenstra be able to reach enough people with a message that resonates that, it is time for a change, and I'm the guy that can go out and take the horse by the reins and move this district to the next level. And his message last night is, my number one goal is, one, to get on the ag committee, because we're the number one ag district in the U.S. government. And secondly, eventually he wants to be the chairman of the agriculture committee, because we are the large ag state in Iowa. And unfortunately, Congressman Trump was taken off that. Now, whether that was fair or not, that's not for us to call on. But he has no sitting role on a committee, and I think Randy Feenstra is going to try to build on that.
Oh, without a doubt. You said Congressman Trump. I know you meant Congressman Congressman King. But you're right. King has strong support. He's done a decent job for us here in Fort Dodge for many years. He's been a friend of Fort Dodge. I'm not ready to throw him over the. He's like Trump. I wish he'd shut the hell up sometimes. Just keep it to yourself. I understand you have deep feelings in this regard, but let's move on with business here.
Well, I meant to ask him, because he said he was going to be meeting last week with the House leadership about getting him back on the committees, and I forgot to ask him that. But I need to find out, because that's the big, one of the reasons I'm concerned about him is he has no real voice as an elected member of Congress, which is, to me, not fair, but it's reality. And that's not fair to voters of our district, that we don't have a member of Congress sitting on an active committee representing us. And so hopefully we can get that resolved. But I just think it's going to be a competitive race. Randy has a lot of work to do about getting his name out, but I think he's raised a lot of money, and I think it's just going to be wait and see what happens.
Again, I do like Randy Feenstra. He's from Hull, Iowa, and I think he does he still teach at Dort? Is that where he's at?
I believe so, and he's been a good supporter of Fort Dodge along with Senator Kreinbrink.
Well, that's what Senator Kreinbrink said.
The TIF issues. There's been a big push to eliminate leveraging TIF districts to help with redevelopment and economic development, and that hopefully it's Bend area north of the Village Inn and other housing developments that have sprung up here in Fort Dodge have benefited by that. And he played a significant role working with our members of the Iowa House and Senate, and ironically, Jerry Fitzgerald, who's a Democrat, but he works on both sides of the aisle to get that done. So I think he's done a good job, in a bipartisan way as well. But it's a Republican primary, and we'll have to see what the Republicans want.
Jerry's pretty respected down there. I've been down there a couple of times, and when Jerry's name came up, and everybody, they respect him as a man of his word. And
oh, absolutely. He's got the best reputation, the most sincere, honest guy. Funny, though, he's an engineer by profession, and when I was down there, he used to send a note to me in the Senate to come out and talk to him about an issue. So I'd go out and say, hey, Jerry, what's the issue? He said, well, the corn growers want this. And I'd say, well, do the Webster County corn growers support it? And he goes, yeah. And I said, well, does Hamilton County, does Calhoun? He said, yeah. I said, well, then, who am I to say I'm not going to support what my district needs?
Yeah.
And he would look at me like, it's not supposed to be that easy. I got a whole pile of stuff to go get stuff. Jerry, I don't need to read about the genetics of corn. What the farmers want. But he was that, that thorough. He truly wants to get the full picture out, and that's a good lobbyist.
Yeah, that's good, and it's a good thing he called you. I mean, why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, certainly. And he wanted to. You never know how somebody's going to respond. When you start thinking, oh yeah, we'll do this because such and such is going to support it without a problem, you're going to run into a problem. I can almost guarantee you.
Oh, absolutely.
You can never assume.
To me, a couple of times it's something I was going to support at the end of the day, but people did that. Ignored not just myself but others. So when they finally got around right before the vote, I'd say, well, I don't know enough about the issue, so I'm not going to support it. And their face would turn white because they assumed I would vote for it.
Right.
And that's, again, for a representative to do his or her good job, you have to be, brief with the information. And that's what lobbyists really generally do a good job of. Of course, there's a bad, image of lobbyists in D.C., particularly about big money and, big bills being passed around. Well, that really doesn't happen that way anymore, except through our super PACs.
Well, if you remember our bid to get a casino, and it went over to Jefferson, I had the Racing and Gaming Commission chair at the time on the air about 3 weeks earlier. And he told me, we're done granting licenses. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Jefferson gets a casino. Now, that was a little disappointing.
Yeah, that kind of, you lose heart in the system there. And I know some, you can't prove anything, but there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that none of us were aware of.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I grilled Chip Baltimore for quite a while on that, and he just smiled at me.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, again, I know enough also to be dangerous, so I just really can't say much. But I know Steve Daniel put his heart into that project.
He did.
He was treated the most unfairly I've ever seen an Iowan treated by the justice system.
Wasn't that terrible?
And then they drug it out over 2 years, made him spend over $100,000 of his own money to defend himself, and they finally dropped everything. Because they were trying to get in a plea bargain. Well, he didn't have anything complete. He did nothing wrong.
And I'll always remember that about Steve, that he was a stand-up guy, and I'd see him around town a lot then. I haven't seen him really much in recent years, but he would always say, this is my integrity that's at stake here. He said, this is my name that's at stake, and I'm not going to let him do this. And
well, you'll love this story about him. We went down, I was no longer serving, but we're trying to get the law changed so Fort Dodge didn't have to have a riverboat. We could build a casino on the land.
Right.
So I said, Steve, we need you to go down. You're the chairman of the company. We need to have a face on this. Do I have to wear a suit? Yeah, you got to wear a suit. Oh, God, I hate wearing ties. So we go down there for about 2 or 3 days, and the last day we were walking out of the Capitol. And during that whole time, I kept telling him, now, Steve, this is a process. We're going to get what we need at the end, but it's a process. He walked out that third day. He looked at me. He said, you can stick that process where you want to.
Wherever you want to.
It's the most screwed up place I've ever seen in my life. And he said, I want to go back to my tire shop. Well, we were successful in getting done what we wanted, but then at the end of the day, the commission screwed Fort Dodge, and we didn't get a casino.
The commission screwed Fort Dodge. They really did. You never found out the whole story on that, or you can't say, or?
Well, I can talk to you off the radio, but there's something happened with one of the commissioners, because the one final voter on that day when they voted us down was a guy who told Steve and I to our face he would support us, and between that, about 2 weeks later, he voted no.
Yeah.
And I've never talked to the guy since.
Well, why would you? His word isn't worth it. If your word isn't worth anything, neither are you. You know that?
No. Yep.
You can't give a man your word. And keep your word. I don't have any time for you. Period.
No, and sometime I'll talk to you off the record, but it's just I don't need to besmirch anybody, but they have lied and cheated us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that part we know.
Yeah.
That part we know, and well, anyway, I don't want to. Yeah, we'll talk some other time. We'll talk some other time about it. Jim Kirsten's our guest at AM 1400 KVFD. The voice of Fort Dodge. Is Iowa Central getting the money they need this year at the State House?
Well, we're working hard on that. We asked for $8.2 million. Governor recommended $6.2, and we're going to be somewhere between 6.2 and $8 million. But then jokingly, we were down there with some students, and Dr. Kenny said to Senator Greinbrink, "Well, we don't want just 8, we want 10." And Tim looked at him and said, "Well, you frankly should have asked for 12, because I was thinking about giving you $12 million." And he laughed. He said no, but he said we're going to do our best to help increase that number. So I think, again, in a bipartisan, that's one thing the colleges are so lucky. We have bipartisan support. And I think at the end of the day, we'll be treated fairly like we have been recently.
Well, Andrew Yang keeps talking that out in California, they're testing driverless trucks now, big trucks, the over-the-road trucks.
Yep.
And very soon, they will have these driverless trucks. And that'll put 150,000 truck drivers right out of business. That's remarkable. Yeah. I should call somebody out at Deckers. Deckers usually has the scoop. I mean, they're pretty sharp group out there.
Call Tim Burns. Don's traveling a lot, so I'd call Tim Burns, their CFO, and talk to him.
Yeah, I see Tim every now and then, but I can certainly call him out there as well. Yeah. Tim's a good guy.
Hey, I meant to say something real quick before you get off, but it's so sad about Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, what a shock!
Yeah, and I know that you're proud of the work he has done, and you're one of the few radio hosts in Iowa now.
Yes, I am.
And I'm glad we have you, but it's just terrible, and I hope he can beat it.
People, a lot of people think that we just get on here and start talking, and just very little preparation. We'll just get on here and say, I could do your job.
There's no way. Yeah.
I mean, Rush Limbaugh is the most prepared and the best presenter I have ever heard. He is one of the best radio, if not the best communicator. The only other one I can think of is Paul Harvey, who did a completely different thing.
Oh yeah.
But Rush Limbaugh creates an atmosphere where he gets his message across and moves people. Now that is why he makes $56 million a year, because he has that ability. And
the people tune in, and the advertisers spend a lot of money to support the show.
Oh, absolutely. And the advertisers, by the way, get their money's worth. I mean, they do.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little early.
Well, I just hope your listeners can say a prayer for him, regardless of whatever you're Democrat or Republican. That he's a human that's sick, and we got to get him hopefully the right treatment.
Well, yeah. Hopefully that's the case. Boy, I hate to hear lung cancer. I just don't like to hear that at all. And stage 4 at that. I mean,
and he said it must have gotten into some part of his pulmonary system.
Yeah.
That's not good either.
That is not good either. I mean, a 69-year-old man. I mean, I don't know. The world just won't be the same without Rush Limbaugh. I think even liberals would miss him sooner or later, because he was
good guy to pick on.
Well, and he had a sense of humor under it all as well. There was just a little bit of a smile sometimes in a lot of things he said and did. And he did get indignant every now and then, but you rarely heard him in a full-blown rage, which is something I never learned to do, Jim.
Right. It's just too bad, And
well, we don't like to hear about that from anybody. Absolutely not.
No.
Anyway.
Well, remind me sometime off the air. I've got a personal little story about Rush Limbaugh. It's kind of funny.
Okay. Well, you can't tell me now?
No, I'd rather I'll talk to you first, and then if you think it's appropriate, then
okay. All right. You met Sean Hannity once, didn't you?
What's that?
You met Sean Hannity once, didn't you?
I met him a couple times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Good guy too.
Yeah. I've never met Sean. But I not surprisingly, I listen to a lot of talk radio, and there's a lot of good people out there from various formats, and Tom Hartman's out there. He's a very liberal guy, but none of them can compare with Rush Limbaugh just from the technical standpoint, just from the presentation skills and the way he is with people on the phone. I mean, he is he doesn't get enough credit. He gets plenty of money, but he's a sharp guy. Jim Kirsten has been our guest. Thank you so much, Jim.
Sure. And one other guy that I always liked, and I met him a couple times, was Fritz Matthew.
Oh, really?
And Tim Russert the most. He was a Democrat but a balanced presenter. I thought that was pretty good.
Russert was before ideological television, before opinion television, and he was a great researcher and a great reporter and a great on-air presence. Yeah, it went way too soon. 58 years old. Jeez.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
Well, thanks for having me.
You bet. All right. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I'm Michael Devine. The news is coming up. Thank you for listening to me today. You could have gone someplace else, but you came here. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this is the only talk radio show in this part of the state, that's for sure. I don't know how many more. I don't think Sioux City has a local talk show anymore. Anyway, thank you for listening. We'll be back tomorrow with Greg Hora, City Councilman Terry Menke, and the county supervisors, the whole show. Thanks for listening again. Good night.
Hi, this is Leslie Segretti.
And I'm Tom Kreitler, and you can hear the Money Pit every Saturday afternoon from 4 to 6 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD, Fort Dodge.
This is a Fox News alert. It's unacceptable. I'm Lisa Lacera. That's what the chairman of the Iowa Democratic Party is saying about the delayed results in last night's Iowa caucuses. Fox's Gernal Scott has more live.
Lisa, these results are only partial and not a victory in the Iowa caucuses yet.
Where we stand with 62% in, Pete Buttigieg leads in state delegate equivalents, followed by Bernie Sanders. Elizabeth Warren is third, Joe Biden fourth, and Amy Klobuchar fifth. Again, this is not yet being called by Fox News as a victory for the former South Bend, Indiana mayor. When asked if these numbers are accurate, Iowa Democratic Chair Troy Price assured.
The underlying data, the raw data, is secure. It was always secure.
The Buttigieg campaign reacted, saying it shows what they already knew. Lisa?
Gernal, she's made her decision. Maine Republican Senator Susan Collins, seen as a swing vote on impeachment, speaking on the Senate floor this afternoon.
As I concluded in the impeachment trial of President Clinton, I do not believe that the House has met its burden of showing that the president's conduct, however flawed, warrants the extreme step of immediate removal from office.
The vote on the two articles, abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, will be held tomorrow afternoon. Tonight, the president delivers the State of the Union address, and Deputy Press Secretary Hogan Gidley says impeachment will not be mentioned. Instead, he says the focus will be on what he called the Great American Comeback.
Where we were under the previous administration with massive rolls inflated at the food stamps levels, also joblessness, we're at bad numbers as well. Now, this president comes in and changes course.
You can hear the coverage of the State of the Union address and the Democratic response on this Fox station. America is listening to Fox News.
At Quicken Loans, our 17,000 team members know that home is so much more than a house. That's because our clients tell us all the time. Hey, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, and we want to help you save money on your mortgage with some of the lowest refinancing rates ever. Rates are historically low. You may be able to reduce your rate and save money on your monthly mortgage payment right now. Pay off some credit card debt or put some money towards that new bathroom or kitchen you've always wanted. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%. APR 4.23%. That's right, 3.99%. While we can't predict what will happen in the future, we do know that rates have dropped and now is the time to save money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn how refinancing now may be the right mortgage solution for you. That's 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rates subject to change. Pay 2% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
With your KVFD news update, I'm Rob Jones. Partial results of the Iowa caucus are in, with Pete Buttigieg ahead across the state with 62% of precincts reporting. Buttigieg is right at 27%, with Bernie Sanders second around the state at 25%, Elizabeth Warren at 18.3%, and Joe Biden at 15.6%. Pete Buttigieg currently sits in the lead in Webster County, with Joe Biden second and Bernie Sanders third. Buttigieg also leads in Hamilton County with Joe Biden second. Humboldt County is deadlocked with Biden and Buttigieg at the top. Buttigieg leads in Pocahontas, Wright, and Calhoun counties. Again, just 62% of precincts being reported around the state, with Pete Buttigieg as the state leader, right at 27%, and Bernie Sanders at 25%. 4th District Congressman Steve King was in attendance at the Republican caucus last night at Iowa Central Community College. King was there to show support for President Trump, and he says that the president has continued to accomplish things even while being impeached.
Walking through the fire and getting things done while he's being shot at the whole time. I mean, it reminds me of going into the hospital in Balad in Iraq, where they took the most patients, the most traumatized patients. They had sandbags up just head high, and you have as many as 8 different doctors working on a patient at any single time while they're being mortared. Being mortared the whole time, and he's focusing on the patient, which is the United States of America.
King went on to say that Democrats have been working on impeaching the president since he was first elected.
President Trump was elected on November 8th of 2016. November 9th was the first speech by a seated member of Congress that they were going to impeach Donald Trump. And they set about doing that. Then the following Sunday, they gathered together at the Mandarin Hotel in Washington, D.C. And out of there, they strategized on how they were going to deny Donald Trump the ability to govern this country and keep his promises.
company officials announced yesterday that the Misty Harbor Boat Factory here in Fort Dodge will be closing within the next few months. The closing is expected to result in a loss of over 40 jobs. On 92 Rock, the Fort Dodge Dodgers at home hosting Des Moines North. You can hear those games beginning with a 6 p.m. scheduled start for the girls' pregame show with the boys to follow. The St. Edmund Gales in action tonight on the road at Humboldt on Sunny 99.7. A 6 p.m. scheduled start time for the girls' pregame show with the boys to follow. And as always, you can catch all of our high school basketball coverage at yourfortdodge.com. For KVFD from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's the Dave Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thanks for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Ashley is going to start off this hour in California. Hi, Ashley. How are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm so glad to be talking to you.
You too. What's up?
I've been married for 6 years, and I'm currently 9 months pregnant, waiting for my third child. I'm taking care of my kids at home, and I'm feeling financially insecure, especially if something happens to my marriage, like in the future. So the two things that I did so far recently, I learned that my husband can contribute to an IRA for me. So I had one open for myself, and I had him, combine the second thing was I had him combine all of our accounts into one joint account. And I just want to know, what can I do now to start feeling financially secure, or what can he do to help me feel secure, financially secure?
Okay, so you have this latent fear he's going to leave and take all the money?
I don't know. I just want to feel like being at home, that he and I are on the same page, that I'm doing, that I don't know what to say to him. And I think he's doing everything, but
you're not discussing money? You're not on the same page? You're not making decisions together?
I mean, we are, but I did talk to him about, he did combine all of our accounts.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're making your decisions together, then why don't you feel like you have a voice?
Because I feel like I wanted him to combine his IRA and his investments with mine.
He can't.
Because he just recently.
You can't.
You can't.
You can't.
Okay.
There's no such thing as a his and her IRA. You have an IRA. He has an IRA. Oh, by the way, California law says if you get divorced and he has $1 million in a 401k, you get half of it, even if your name is not on it.
What else can I do? Because I don't have any idea. Like, what else can I do? I can't bring in an income because I'm staying home with these young kids. I feel like my hands are kind of tied. So I'm having trouble. If you're at home with the babies and that's your choice, and that's what you want to do, which is a wonderful thing, I do not know that you're vulnerable. This is an irrational fear. Yeah, it is.
Okay. I mean, if it was a rational fear, there would be some things we could do tactically to, quote, unquote, protect you, okay? Now, from a relational standpoint, the two of you need to agree we do not make major financial decisions without us being in agreement. Sharon and I have that contract. I don't go buy a car and go, look what I did. We make that decision together. I don't go buy a piece of property and go, look what I did. We don't make a major contribution to charity and say, look what I did. Now, I mean, she might give somebody $500 or something, but I mean, she doesn't give people $5,000. I don't go buy an expensive $8,000 gun that she doesn't know I'm doing. And she doesn't go buy an $8,000 purse that I don't know she's doing, right? So we have an agreement that we don't spend or make big decisions without the other one. Secondly, we have an agreement that says that all of our monthly budget, we both have a vote on, and we both agree. All the money comes in. She has not made a dime, well, virtually a dime of income in 33 years. But yet our income is described as our income. Because we are married, it is ours. By the way, the law says it's ours. But more importantly, the Spirit says it's ours. And we together are managing our money. She has as much say in what happens with the money as I do. Because that's how she and I choose to run our relationship. And by the way, it's the healthiest methodology for your marriage and has the highest probability of being successful financially when you learn to work together like that in unity, trusting each other, having experience. So a budget where every dollar has a name, we both have a vote, those dollars are all assigned, that you have equal say in the money even though you technically did not bring it into the household. Number two. Number one is you make a pinky swear and spit shake. We don't make major decisions without each other. Number three, understand that the law gives you access to any assets that have his name on them in the event of a divorce or a death. Number three, put together a will that takes care of you guys if something happens to him. Number four, put together life insurance that takes care of you guys if something happens to him. Lots of it, lots of life insurance. It's not that expensive. And so those kinds of things can tactically make you secure. But if somehow you've been delivered a message by your parents or society or some stupid butt college professor that says you don't add value to your family because you're at home with the kids, then that's something that's screwed up in your head that you have to fix. Is that right?
I agree with you.
Okay. Listen,
thank you for
Billy
that list.
Graham had a mama. Right?
Yes.
He changed the world. That's an important job you have. Maybe the most important job on the planet. Now, if you want to do a career while you're doing that, I'm not mad at you for that. But don't listen to voices that devalue your position. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that list.
Yeah,
That's a good start.
Tactically, you got to do those things. But listen, if you emotionally decide to be insecure, none of those things are going to fix you.
I agree.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks for the call, kiddo. Anytime you want to talk, I'll preach at you. Just call anytime. I love you, kiddo. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Well, I got to tell you, man, my wife get her hillbilly up. Somebody devalues a full-time mom because she's been a full-time mom for 33 years now. Now she's full-time Mimi, running around, bothering 6 grandkids on a regular basis. So, by the way, I have 3 absolutely incredible, stellar adult children that are absolutely incredible, stellar husbands and wives, and absolutely incredible, stellar mommies and daddies themselves with incredible walks with Jesus and incredible careers. And you can blame it on one thing if you want, Sharon Ramsey. So I don't know how you can create more value in society than that. Obviously, you got me started, didn't you? Oh, well. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. You know what I've learned after talking to so many people who have been victims of ID theft? They feel violated and they have a sense of fear and intrusion. It can be overwhelming. It's scary and infuriating at the same time. People question your character. You try to figure out how it happened, and you worry it's going to happen again. Then you have to deal with cleaning up the mess. Bill collectors, credit bureaus, even the police just make the nightmare worse. And trust me, ID theft is not going away. That's why I personally worked with Zander Insurance to develop an ID theft plan that provides the best protection and value. Smart strategies to help reduce your risk so you don't feel so helpless, along with taking over all the work if you do become a victim, and without wasting your money on gimmicks or things you can easily do for yourself. Go to Zander.com or call 800-356-4282. Do not wait until it's too late and you have to go through this nightmare on your own. Go to Zander.com.
Christians have an affordable and credible way to meet their overwhelming healthcare costs. It's Christian Healthcare Ministries, the original health cost sharing ministry. A Better Business Bureau accredited organization, CHM members share to pay each other's medical bills. It's not insurance. It's Christians financially and spiritually supporting each other. It's what CHM has done for over 35 years. Learn more at chministries.org. That's chministries.org. Christian Healthcare